Our next broadcast was a radio series of mystery and terror tales produced and directed by Jock McGregor for the Mutual Network between March 18th and September 9th of 1945. Each week after the sounding of the great gong, host Philip Clark observed that the mysteriously silent keeper of the book has opened the ponderous door to the secret vault wherein is kept the great sealed book in which is recorded all the secrets and mysteries of mankind throughout the ages. Here are tales of every kind, tales of murder, of madness, of dark deeds, strange and terrible beyond all belief. We present to you The Sealed Book on HOJO Radio.
The Sealed Book. Once again, the keeper of the book has opened the ponderous door to the secret vault, wherein is kept the great sealed book, in which is recorded all the secrets and mysteries of mankind through the ages. Here are tales of every kind, tales of murder, of madness, of dark deeds, strange and terrible beyond all belief. Keeper of the book, I would know what tale we tell this time. Open the great book and let us read. Slowly, the great book opens. One by one, the keeper of the book turns the pages and stops. Ah, the strange story of a murderer who found that justice has an uncanny way of working itself out, as in the tale titled, Murder Must Be Paid For. Here is the tale, Murder Must Be Paid For, as it is written in the pages of the sealed book. Our story begins in the office of Judge Wallace, Lucy Holden's legal advisor. Judge Wallace, an anxious expression on his face, is pleading with the beautiful young woman.
Lucy, listen to me. You mustn't do this. Believe me, you're making a terrible mistake.
I don't think so, Judge Wallace. I love Tom, and I'm going to marry him.
Lucy, I didn't want to tell you this because no one can prove it. But Tom Barrow murdered your father.
I know a lot of people think he murdered Dad, but I don't believe it.
I wish I didn't. Listen, Lucy, Tom and your father were on a hunting trip. Your father died with a rifle bullet through his heart from his own rifle. Tom said your father dropped the gun accidentally and it went off.
Yes, I know all that.
Do you know that Tom robbed your own father on a business deal and would have gone to jail if your father had lived another week?
I know people say so. But have you any proof?
No. Your father died. There's no case.
Well, Judge, you've done your duty and warned me. So the responsibility is mine.
All right, Lucy. You know, you've grown very pretty since you went away to school. 4 years. I'm sorry we haven't seen anything of you in all that time.
I'm sorry, too, but Dad wanted me to stay east. You know, Judge Wallace, I met my sister when I was in New York last winter.
Your sister?
Mm-hmm.
What sister, Lucy?
Doreen. Don't you know about her?
Doreen? No. I never knew you had a sister.
I didn't either until Dad wrote me and told me about it. But you knew Dad's first wife ran away with an actor a year after she and Dad were married.
Yes, I knew that, but that's all.
Well, Doreen was his first child. Her mother took her along when she ran away. I wondered if Dad had mentioned Doreen in his will.
No, he didn't.
Well, I'm going to send her some money anyway. Will that be all right?
Oh, yes, of course. It's your money now. The whole $1 million.
Thank you, Judge Wallace. Well, I have to go now. Tom's waiting for me. We're going to be married right away.
And Lucy married Tom Baddow, big and blond and arrogantly self-assured. Tongues wagged over the marriage, but ignoring the gossip, the happy couple settled down at Barrow House, on the edge of high cliffs, looking out over the Pacific. There, Lucy wrote many letters, especially to her half-sister, Doreen.
Dear Doreen, I hope that at last you're going to have a chance to visit Tom and me here at Barrow House. I know you'd like Tom, and he'd like you.
Hello, darling.
Oh.
More letters to Doreen?
Oh, yes, Tom. I'm trying to persuade her to come visit us, and since her show's going to be in San Francisco all this week.
Oh, good. If she's half as pretty as you are, I'll welcome her with open arms.
Well, people in New York used to take us for twins, but she's really much more sophisticated than I am. She's an actress.
Sounds more and more interesting. But how about coming for a speedboat ride, hon? Water's just right.
Oh, I can't. This is the day I volunteered to help the sisters at the Mission Hospital.
Oh, for Pete's sake. That's a 30-mile drive, 20 to town and 10 more beyond. You won't get back till after dark.
I'm sorry, Tom, but I promise.
And so, a short time later, Lucy drove off to her volunteer nursing work. So she was not present to see the dusty taxi that drove up to the house several hours later, leaving a visitor.
I wonder if anyone's home. Ahoy, the house! Is anyone in?
Nobody but me. Who are you? Why, Lucy.
Wrong guess, mister. Try again.
Holy smoke, I thought... No, your hair's done differently, and you're taller. Say, well, you can't be Doreen.
Why not? Is there a law against it?
The mystery sister here at last. And on the day Lucy's away.
You mean I've missed her?
Oh, she'll be back tonight, and you're staying, aren't you?
Can't. I have to get back to town to catch the 7 o'clock train for Frisco.
No, that's too bad, but, well, there's no reason you and I shouldn't get acquainted before then, is there?
None I can think of offhand.
Well, then come on in. I'll show you around, and then I'll mix us a couple of drinks. Okay?
Okay.
That tastes good. Well, how do you like our little place, now that you've seen it?
I go for it. Imagine sitting out here on the cliffs every evening and watching the sun set into the Pacific.
Pay us a visit, and you can do it.
Maybe I will. How high are these cliffs anyway, Tom?
80 feet, straight down to the Pacific. There's deep water at the foot of them.
Oh, I'd hate to fall off. But as for the visit idea, on second thought, I don't think I will.
Why not? We'd love to have you. I know I would.
That's just the trouble. I might find myself poaching on little Lucy's territory.
You mean that?
Yes. Now I can understand how little Lucy came to fall for the guy who killed her father.
So you've heard that gossip, eh?
Yes, but not from Lucy. You did kill him, didn't you?
Of course not. It was an accident. A very regrettable accident.
Oh, of course. Now, how about driving me back to town? I'll just have time to catch my train.
All right, but you're going to come again. I know it.
Well, maybe.
Well, you know, I think you and I could understand each other. It's too bad I didn't meet you first, instead of Lucy.
That evening, when Lucy returned, she was upset to learn that she had missed Doreen. But Tom said that Doreen had promised to come again in a few weeks. And then, because Lucy was tired, they retired early. But during the night, Tom awoke to find Lucy shaking him.
Tom!
Huh? What's the matter? What is it?
Tom, you were talking in your sleep.
Talking in my sleep?
Yes. I thought you might be having a nightmare.
No. No, I'm all right.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tom, but when I heard you talking in your sleep, I thought
What was I saying?
Well, nothing that I could understand. Why?
No reason, just curious, that's all. I've never talked in my sleep before that I know of.
Oh, yes, you have, darling. Several times the last few weeks.
Lucy, are you telling me the truth?
Why, of course. Why should I lie about such a silly little thing?
No, of course you wouldn't. Lucy.
Yes, Tom?
Suppose I sleep in the corner room after this.
In the corner room? Why, Tom, you aren't serious.
I'm perfectly serious. The realization that I might be disturbing you would make me more and more nervous until I wouldn't be able to sleep at all.
Well, if that's really the case...
It is, and anyway, we'll try it for a while, shall we?
After Tom moved to the corner room, there was an atmosphere of strain between him and Lucy. Lucy, however, pretended not to notice it and went about as though everything was just as it had been. She wrote many long letters to her sister Doreen, but Tom noticed that whenever he came close to her, she covered the letters so that he could not see what she was writing. His suspicions aroused, he waited until she left one of them in the mailbox for the rural delivery carrier to pick up. As soon as she was out of sight, he swiftly ripped it open and read it.
Now, Lucy, we'll see what you're so carefully hiding from me. Dear Doreen, I have dreadful news for you. Now I know that Tom did kill my father. Night after night, I've been listening outside his door, becoming more and more certain. Last night he cried out distinctly, I killed him, but they'll never prove it, never. Doreen, what shall I do? If he killed Father, he may kill me. I go in fear of my life. I've taken one of his hunting knives, and I carry it around with me to protect myself in case he attacks me. So that's how it is. That's what you've been up to, eh? Well, Lucy, I think that you and I must have a little talk.
But when Tom returned to the house, Lucy was not there. At last he located her, standing at her favorite spot on the cliffs near the house, a spot that overhung the sea which beat unceasingly against the rocks beneath, his footsteps muffled by the sound of the surf. Tom came quietly up behind her.
Lucy!
Oh, Tom, you frightened me.
Lucy, I want to talk to you.
Oh, what about?
I just read the letter you wrote your sister.
You opened it?
Yes. You little fool, you know perfectly well such evidence means nothing in a court, nothing. Now, why not be sensible? Come on, Lucy, let's forget the whole thing. It's over and done with.
No, stay away from me. Don't come near me.
Lucy, put that knife down.
No.
I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just trying to talk sense to you.
No, don't come any closer.
Lucy, be careful. You'll go over the cliff if you... Lucy, look out!
And now to continue the story, as it is written in the sealed book. Tom Barrow, a look of horror on his face, stared over the edge of the cliff from which Lucy had fallen. Lucy was gone, swallowed up in the huge waves 80 feet below. Tom searched desperately for her until darkness fell and forced him to return to the house. He strove to calm his nerves and plan a course of action.
That's better. Now maybe I can think. They'll say I murdered her, but they won't be able to prove it. No matter what they think, they'll be able to prove nothing. Then the joke will be on Lucy. I'll inherit the whole estate her father left her. And that is a laugh. Hello?
Hello, brother-in-law.
Doreen, where are you?
In town. Is Lucy there? I thought I'd come out and visit you two.
No, she's not here just now.
Well, when'll she be back? Or don't you want me to come see you?
Yes, but... Doreen, listen.
Yes?
There's something I've got to talk to you about, privately. Where are you now?
At the restaurant across from the railroad station.
Stay there for half an hour. I'll meet you there. I have a proposition for you, and I think you're going to like it. So that's the whole story, Doreen. I just wanted to talk sense to her, and she backed away from me and fell over the cliff.
So you killed her, did you, Tom?
No, I tell you I didn't. It was an accident.
All right, it was an accident. As a matter of fact, I'm inclined to believe you. Now, what did you want to talk to me about?
Look, Doreen, it should have been you and me, not me and Lucy. You and I belong together.
Maybe. Go on, Tom.
Now, here's my idea. You look like Lucy. I want you to take Lucy's place.
Take Lucy's place?
Yes. We'll be married secretly. You'll call yourself Lucy. No one will ever know the difference. And I'll give you half the estate that Lucy inherited from her father, because now that she's dead, I'll inherit it all from her father. Think, Doreen. $500,000.
So you want me to take Lucy's place, Tom? Clever. Yes, very clever. No public outcry, no investigation, no suspicion of you.
No, Doreen, I'm crazy about you. And we'll get along swell together. We'll travel, have fun. You'll be rich.
Yes, I'll be rich, Tom.
Then you'll do it.
No.
What?
I have a better scheme than that.
What do you mean?
If you're convicted of murdering Lucy, Tom, you can't inherit her estate. Then it'll come to me as her next of kin. That way I'll have it all.
Doreen.
So I'm not going to fall in with your plan. Instead, I'm going to work one of my own. I'm going to see you convicted of murdering Lucy.
And so, despite Tom's frantic arguments, Doreen insisted that he go with her to Lucy's old friend, Judge Wallace. Judge Wallace called in the prosecuting attorney, and they heard Tom's story in silence.
It won't wash, Barrow. First the father, then the daughter die in accidents, with you the only witness. It's too much for anyone to believe.
Judge Wallace, I have letters from Lucy proving that she'd heard him admit in his sleep that he killed her father and that she was afraid of him.
How about it, Mr. Roden? Can we hold him for murder?
I'm afraid not, Judge Wallace. The letters would help, but they're not enough legally to win a conviction. Unless Lucy's body can be found with some evidence of murder about it, the law can do nothing.
Lucy's body will be found sooner or later. I'm going to offer a reward for it. And then we'll see whether you can be convicted or not.
But a week went by, and a second week, and Lucy's body was not recovered from the restless waters of the Pacific. A third week, and Tom Barrow began to breathe easily again. Then one morning he received a call from the prosecuting attorney to view the body of a young woman that had been found on the beach by fishermen not far from Barrow House.
Well, here I am. Where's the body?
Is it Lucy, Mr. Roden?
I prefer not to give an opinion till you've both seen her. Attendant, open number 17, please. I lift the sheet so you can see the face. I'm afraid it's badly battered, probably by rocks.
Oh, that's not Lucy. I'm positive of it.
Well, Miss Holden, what do you say?
I'm not sure.
Now, I have everything that was on the body here in this envelope. 2 rings and a silver pin. Here they are. Mr. Barrow, do you recognize them?
No. No, I don't.
I can't be sure about the rings, but that pin was Lucy's. I sent it to her for a wedding present. If you look on the back, you will see engraved, "To L from D with love."
That would be to Lucy from Doreen, wouldn't it?
It would.
I think that settles the identification. But there's one more point, as you'll see when I turn back the sheet further.
A knife. A knife through her heart.
No, it can't be.
Your knife, Mr. Barrow, with your name stamped on it. Thomas Barrow, you're under arrest for murder.
Thomas Barrow, you have been found guilty of murder as charged. The sentence of this court, accordingly, is that at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the day of June 3rd, you shall suffer death in the lethal chamber of the state penitentiary, and may God have mercy on your soul.
And now to continue the story, as it is written in the sealed book. Tom Barrow's lawyer appealed the death verdict, but his appeal was rejected. The evidence was far too overwhelming. Tom kept protesting, but of course no one believed him, except the visitor whom the guard brought to his death cell one afternoon.
Here you are, Miss Doreen.
Thank you, guard.
You can talk to him for 10 minutes, that's all. I'll stand back here where I can keep an eye on him, but I won't be listening.
Hello, Tom.
You devil. You did this. If it hadn't been for you, I wouldn't be here now.
But you are here, where you belong. You ought to be amused at the way things turned out, Tom.
If it hadn't been for you and those letters and that knife. You know how that knife came to be in Lucy's body.
Yes, I do know. Lucy put it there.
Lucy put it there.
Yes, Tom. You killed Lucy's father, but the law couldn't touch you. So Lucy married you, just so she could see you punished.
I don't believe you.
You will. First, Lucy made you think that you talked in your sleep, that you'd admitted the truth that way.
Made me think I'd talked in my sleep.
Yes, because you didn't, ever. But when you got frightened and insisted on having a separate room, she knew definitely you were guilty. Then she carried out the plan she'd made long before, to see you punished.
You're crazy. It was all an accident. She fell off the cliff.
Yes, Tom, that's right. She fell off the cliff, but she's not dead. In college, Lucy was a swimming champion. She'd dive from that cliff many times. When she fell, she simply swam underwater until she was out of sight behind some rocks. And then she swam ashore. A few miles down the beach, she had a motorboat hidden in an old boathouse. She reached it, changed her clothes, and got to a fishing village down the coast in the boat. Then she simply took a bus to town. No one paid any attention to her.
The body, her rings...
That wasn't Lucy's body. It was the body of a girl who happened to resemble her in size and coloring.
I knew it.
That girl had been killed in an automobile accident. Lucy was able to secure her body, never mind how, and concealed it in the water in the boathouse only a day or two before she put her plan into operation. After she fell off the cliff, she put her rings and pin on the body and thrust the knife into the heart. And after 3 weeks in the water, well, you understand.
So that's it. Well, go on. What's the rest of it?
When the time came, I saw to it that the body was taken from the boathouse and put on the beach where it could be found. And then I identified it. And here you are, Tom.
You devils, both of you. But you won't get away with it. I'll get my lawyers to find Lucy.
I'm afraid that's impossible. No one can find Lucy.
What do you mean, if she's alive?
She's alive, but no one will find her, Tom. Because, Tom, I'm Lucy, too. I'm both Doreen and Lucy, you see.
You can't be.
Oh, but I am. Think, Tom. Did you ever see Doreen and Lucy together?
Of course, that day you went to the mission.
Yes. It was easy to stop in town, change my clothes, fix my hair differently, put on lots of makeup and high-heel shoes, and come back as Doreen, the sister I'd been so carefully making you believe in all along.
I should have guessed. Why
should you? No one else did. There was a real Doreen once who died as a baby. But that gave me the idea. And I made you think Doreen had her own selfish motive for seeing you convicted, so you wouldn't suspect we were both the same girl.
You devil.
Perhaps some people would say what I've done is wrong. But I don't think so. Because you killed my father. And murder must be paid for, Tom. As you're going to pay.
Guard!
What is it? What do you want?
Call the warden. My wife isn't dead. This is her. Do you hear? It's all a trick.
Oh, I'm afraid his mind is given away under the strain, guard.
Yes, you'd better leave now, miss. We'll look after him.
Yes, thank you. I'm afraid his mind is gone completely.
Don't let her get away. I tell you, she's my wife. She's Lucy, my wife.
Now, take it easy. Take it easy. The warden will be here in a minute, and you can talk to him all you like. On your way to the lethal chamber.
No, I'm innocent. I tell you, I've been framed. She's not dead. My wife's not dead. I'm innocent.
And so ends the tale. Murder must be paid for. As it is written in the sealed book, Tom Barrow paid the supreme penalty, though he protested his innocence to the last. Strange indeed are the ways of justice, from which no mortal can escape. And now, keeper of the book, before you close the great volume, show us the tale we tell next time. This one. Ah, yes. A tale of an old woman who for 40 years lived alone in a huge old New England mansion. A mansion in which death was the master. A tale titled, To Have and to Hold. Be sure to be with us again next time when the sound of the great gong heralds another strange and exciting tale from The Sealed Book. The Sealed Book, produced and directed by Jock McGregor, is written by Bob Arthur and David Kogan.
You're listening to HOJO Radio. More classic old-time radio coming your way next.
The Sealed Book. Once again, the keeper of the book has opened the ponderous door to the secret vault, wherein is kept the great sealed book, in which is recorded all the secrets and mysteries of mankind through the ages. Here are tales of every kind, tales of murder, of madness, of dark deeds strange and terrible beyond all belief. Keeper of the book, I would know what tale we tell this time. Open the great book and let us read. Slowly, the great book opens. One by one, the keeper of the book turns the pages and stops. Ah, the strange story of an old lady who for 40 years lived alone in a huge old New England mansion, a mansion in which death was the master. The tale is titled To Have and to Hold. Here is the tale To Have and to Hold, as it is written in the pages of the sealed book. Our story begins at a small New England railroad station, as a train stops to discharge a lone passenger. The passenger, a young, attractive girl of 20, looks about the station with an air of uncertainty.
Looking for a cab, miss?
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, get right in. Here, I'll take your bag.
Thank you.
Where to, miss?
The Bradley estate, please.
Did you say a Bradley estate?
Why, yes. You know where it is, don't you?
Sure. Everyone does. In fact, I was just getting ready to go out there to deliver these packages.
Oh, good.
Miss, are you sure you want to go out to the Bradley estate? But they ain't had a visitor in 40 years.
Why, that's funny.
You a Bradley?
Yes. My family lives in California, and none of us have ever seen our relatives here in the East. I'm attending college nearby and thought I'd pay my aunt a surprise visit.
Oh. Well, miss, I'd forget the idea if I were you to take the next train back.
Oh, no. Not after I've come 70 miles. I'm not going back to college until I've seen my aunt. Driver, please tell me what you know about my aunt.
Well, just about the time I come to the village 10 years ago to drive this cab, the old servant your aunt used to send for supplies died.
Yes?
She didn't get another servant, but hired me to bring supplies out to the estate once a week.
I see. What does my aunt look like?
I don't know, miss. I ain't never seen her. No one has seen her for 40 years.
But you just said she'd hired you.
Well, she did, but not directly. A banker fella come down from Boston and hired me.
Didn't he go out to the estate to see her?
No, he just arranged things in the village and took the first train back to Boston. Once in a while, your aunt writes to him.
Oh. Well, what are in these packages you have for my aunt?
Well, some of them have food, but mostly it's things she's ordered for her husband. Clothes, cigars, and books, and... Well, in fact, I got a new suit for him right here. Best that money can buy, too. I ain't never seen him, neither.
Just doesn't make sense, does it?
No, ma'am. It certainly don't.
Jane stared into the fast-falling dusk, seeking her first glimpse of her father's birthplace. As they turned into a private road, she was able to make out the many towers of the old mansion and the hundreds of windows, behind which was the unknown and the secrets of 40 years.
I had no idea it'd be so large.
There's over 80 rooms in it. Used to be a show place 40 years ago.
And the two of them live in that mansion, all alone?
Yeah.
There isn't a light showing in the whole house.
No, hardly ever is. Well, come on. We go in the back entrance here. Just follow me.
All right.
That's it. Now, I'll just set these packages I brought right down here on the porch. There.
What's in that box you're picking up?
A note from your aunt. Telling me what to bring for next week.
Oh.
Seems your uncle is running out of cigars. She want me to order more.
You going to knock?
Well, all right.
Surely she heard the car approach the house.
It ain't no use, miss. You better come back to the village with me.
No. No, perhaps she'd open the door if you were to leave me here alone. Won't you please go?
Well, just as you say, miss. I just hope you'll be all right.
Oh, I will. It's getting cold. I do wish she's unlocking it.
As the door slowly swung open, Jane saw her Aunt Olivia for the first time. Olivia stood with one hand, white and tense, gripping the door, while the other hand shakily held a lamp. The light revealed deep, savage lines in her strong face. Her voice trembled as she spoke.
What do you want?
I'm Jane Bradley, your brother Richard's daughter.
Richard's daughter?
Yes. May I come in?
Yes, do. But we must be very quiet. I don't want to wake my husband.
Oh, yes, of course.
We'll go into the drawing room so as not to disturb him.
The light of the lamp cast an eerie glow in the great hallway as Jane followed her aunt into what had once been the most beautiful drawing room in New England. Jane's eye was caught by a faded portrait over the fireplace.
Whose portrait is that, Aunt Olivia? He's so handsome.
That's my husband, Christopher.
Oh.
And he's just as handsome today as he was then. Everyone's always loved and admired him.
I'm sure of that.
That costume he's wearing, it's the one he wore the night of the New Year's Eve masquerade ball. Come, my dear, I'll show you the ballroom.
to continue the story, To Have and to Hold, as it is written in the sealed book. Jane, a look of wonder on her face, followed her Aunt Olivia down a long, dark hall, a hall that was musty with decay. Olivia stopped and opened a large door.
This is the ballroom.
Why, it's so huge.
There were 500 people here that New Year's Eve. Oh, I can remember how beautiful the ballroom was.
And Olivia, the lamp held high, stood entranced, as though listening to strains of music of long ago at that gay New Year's Eve ball, listening to a younger and happier Olivia.
Oh, Chris, there's never been a ball like this, and I've never been so happy. Do you like my costume?
Your costume? Oh, yes, it's very lovely.
Thank you, darling. Oh, Chris, you look wonderful as a Spanish cavalier. The women can't keep their eyes off you.
Where's your cousin Amy?
Amy? Oh, the child is around somewhere. Chris, why don't we announce our engagement tonight? It would be a wonderful way to welcome in the year 1900.
No. I mean, not tonight, Olivia.
Why wait? I want everyone to know you're mine.
Good evening, Olivia. Chris.
Oh, Amy. Oh, you look like a dream in that costume.
Thank you, Chris. Olivia, Judge Parker wants to see you for a moment.
Oh, very well. Will you excuse me, Chris?
Of course.
I'll be back in a minute.
Will you excuse me, Chris? I have to...
Amy, wait. Why have you been avoiding me lately?
I haven't been avoiding you. Chris, please let me go.
You know that I love you, don't you, Amy?
No, Chris. It's Olivia you love and are going to marry.
Olivia and I will never be married.
You don't know what Olivia's like when she can't get what she wants. And she wants you.
You do love me, don't you, Amy?
Yes, but it's no use, Chris. Why, Olivia's my cousin. Her family brought me up.
Just leave everything to me.
I thought I'd never break away from Judge Parker. Oh, Chris, darling. He wanted to know when you and I were going to announce our engagement. Why, Amy, is anything wrong? You look ill.
No, I'm all right. I must see the housekeeper now. Please excuse me.
Olivia, I want to talk to you where we won't be disturbed. Can't we go into the drawing room?
Of course, darling. Come along. We won't be disturbed here. Now, what did you want to talk to me about?
Olivia, I can't go through with our marriage.
Oh, darling. Don't say that even as a joke.
I'm not joking, Olivia. I've never loved you. If I've spoken of marriage, it was because there wasn't anyone else. But now there is.
Someone else? Who?
Amy.
Amy? So that's it. Well, she can't have you, do you hear? You're mine, and you always will be. And I'm not giving you up.
You haven't any choice. Amy and I love each other, and we're going to be married.
No, if I can't have you, no one else shall.
Oh, Olivia, you're hysterical. Put that letter opener
You're
down.
mine, and no one else is going to get you. No one.
Olivia, give me that letter opener.
No one shall have you. No one.
Olivia, perhaps this will bring you to your senses. Ow! Look out, Olivia. Olivia. Olivia, speak to me.
How is she, Doctor?
She will be all right, won't she?
Well, it was quite a serious blow she got on the back of her head.
Oh, Doctor, she's regaining consciousness.
Chris, where are you?
Here I am, Olivia.
Where? Why don't you put the lights on? It's so dark in here.
But the lights are...
Oh, Chris, why is it so dark? Why can't I see?
Now, Olivia, you're going to be all right. You've just lost your sight temporarily.
You mean I'm blind? Chris, where are you? Don't leave me.
I'm here, Olivia.
Oh, Chris, don't leave me. I'm frightened, terribly frightened.
No, you mustn't worry. You heard what Dr. Marshall said. You've only lost your sight temporarily.
Oh, you're just saying that to make me feel better. I know you are.
I'd better give you a sedative so that you can sleep. And you two had better leave now.
You must get some rest, Olivia. I'll be back later.
Chris, you will come back. You will, won't you?
Yes, of course. Good night.
Good night, Olivia.
Good night, Chris.
Chris, what's happened is all my fault.
No, Amy, it's mine.
It was I who struck her and caused her blindness.
Chris, no matter how we feel about each other, you can't leave her, now that she's blind.
Yes, Amy, I know. Olivia and I will be married as soon as possible.
A few weeks passed. Then one day a small group gathered in the dining room to see Chris and Olivia married. The guests all remarked how radiant and happy the bride appeared. As the minister asked the time-honored question, "Do you take this man to love and honor, to have and to hold as long as you both shall live?" The bride smiled happily as she agreed.
Is that you, Chris?
Yes, Olivia.
Oh, it's getting so that I can recognize everyone's footsteps, particularly yours. Where were you, darling? I've missed you so.
I was in the library, trying to work on my new book.
But you weren't in the library when I sent my maid down to find you. Where were you then?
Oh, I don't know. Probably walking in the garden.
You will spend the afternoon with me, won't you, Chris?
But I was planning to go back to work on my book this afternoon.
Oh, darling, can't you let it go until tomorrow? I'm so lonely without you.
All right, Olivia.
Thank you, darling.
I seem to be doing less and less work as time goes on.
Oh, please don't be angry. It's 2 months today since we were married.
2 months today.
Oh, and they've been the happiest months in my whole life. Oh, Chris, I couldn't live without you.
Hello, Chris. Where's Olivia?
She's in her room.
Oh, Chris, you don't look well. Is anything wrong?
Amy, I can't go on this way anymore. I've had about as much of Olivia in these past 2 months as I can stand.
Oh, please, Chris, you mustn't talk like that.
You don't know what it's like. She always wants to know where I've been, who I've seen, what I've been doing. She doesn't let me alone for a moment.
You mustn't feel that way about it, Chris. Oh, she loves you.
Well, if it's love, it's an insane love. She's smothering me to death with her constant attention. Why, I haven't been able to work on my book for 2 weeks now.
Yes, I know.
I can't escape from her for a moment. When I'm not with her, she has the servants spying on me.
Oh, no, Chris, you must be mistaken.
I'm not, I tell you. I can't go on this way much longer. I just can't.
Is that you, Amy?
Yes, Olivia. I've come to read to you.
Where's Chris? What's he doing?
He's in the library writing.
But I wanted him to read to me this evening.
Now, Olivia, you know how anxious Chris is to finish his book.
With all the money I have, he doesn't need to waste his time writing books.
It's more than just money, Olivia. Chris writes because he has the desire to.
Yes, and you encourage him, don't you, Amy? Well, I won't have it. Why, Amy, you're wearing my brooch.
This brooch isn't yours. It's a duplicate I had... Olivia, how did you know I was wearing this brooch? Oh, Olivia, you can see. You're no longer blind.
Well, what if I can? It's none of your business.
All this time you've been pretending, keeping it a secret from Chris and all of us.
I suppose now you're going to tell him. Then he won't feel obligated to me anymore, and the two of you can go away together. That's what you're going to do, isn't it?
I am going to tell Chris, but I'm not going away with him, Olivia.
You're lying. You've always wanted him, always. You hate me because I'm married to him.
Olivia, you're becoming hysterical. You must control yourself.
If it weren't for you, he'd love me. He was mine until you came along. But you aren't going to come between us any longer.
Olivia, what's wrong with you? Stay away from me.
With you gone, he'll be mine.
Olivia, you mustn't... Olivia!
I'll strangle you with my own 2 hands like this. And with you gone, I'll always have Chris. Always, always.
I didn't want to kill you, Amy, but you tried to take Chris from me. Oh, if they find her body here like this, they'll put me in prison. And then I'll lose Chris. Oh, I must do something. If her body were badly burned, they couldn't tell I'd murdered her. Yes, that's it. I could say I heard her lighting the lamp, and there was an accident, and her clothes caught on fire. I was helpless. Yes, that's it. I must burn her body, and then they'll never know I killed
killed her.
And now to continue the story, To Have and to Hold, as it is written in the sealed book. The weeks that followed Amy's accidental death were full of anguish for Chris. More and more he took to drink, trying to forget the death of the girl he loved.
Oh, darling, you've been drinking so much lately.
Well, what else is there to do?
Oh, Chris, you mustn't talk like that.
Why not? Now that Amy's dead, what difference can it make?
Oh, Chris, please.
The only way I can bear to live with you is to drink.
Chris, how can you be so cruel? You know I'd do anything for you, anything.
You've done enough. I'm through. I'm leaving you, do you understand?
No, Chris, you can't. You're mine, do you hear? You can't leave me.
You've done nothing to make me love you. Now we're through.
No, you can't say that. Not after I killed to keep you.
Killed to keep me? I see. Amy's burning to death wasn't an accident. Was it?
Chris!
Was it?
Chris, my arm, you're hurting.
It wasn't an accident, was it?
No! She found out that I wasn't blind anymore, that I'd recovered my eyesight. I couldn't let her tell you and spoil everything.
Murder.
I only did it because I love you so.
It's an insane love. A love that destroys everything.
I did it all for you, Chris.
There's only one thing left for me to do.
Chris, no.
You needn't be afraid of this gun, Olivia. I'm not going to kill you.
Chris!
This gun is the only escape I have from my memories. And from you.
Oh, no, Chris, you can't. You know how much I love you. Chris!
As Aunt Olivia stood there entranced, reliving memories 40 years old, the lamp cast an eerie glow on her face. Lost in the memories of the past, she forgot about her visitor.
Aunt Olivia.
Oh, yes.
You seemed so far away, as though you were recalling memories of long ago.
Oh, I'm sorry. For the moment, I forgot you were here. Yes. Yes, Chris and I still talk about that masquerade party.
You think I might see Uncle Christopher?
Yes. But we mustn't wake him if he's asleep.
Oh, no, of course not. Here, I'll carry the lamp, Aunt Olivia.
His room is at the head of these stairs, on the right.
Don't you think you ought to have the house cleaned, Aunt Olivia? Everything's so old and dusty.
Oh, Chris won't hear of anything being changed. I do hope he likes this new suit I ordered for him. He's always been so particular.
Was this his room?
Yes. Now, be very quiet while I open the door. Chris? Are you awake? We have a visit.
Is it all right for me to come in, Aunt Olivia?
Yes. But you mustn't disturb him.
I won't. It's so dark in here, and this lamp doesn't give much light. I hope Uncle Christopher doesn't...
Oh, you dropped the lamp. He's awake now. Oh, I'm terribly sorry, Chris. I told her not to make any noise.
Miss Bradley, where are you? Are you all right? Answer me.
Here I am.
Yes, good. I come back. Thought I heard you screaming when I come in. It was kind of hard to find my way around this small flashlight. What's wrong? Why'd you scream?
Over there. In that corner of the room.
Well, there's nothing there but a bed and... Oh, it can't be.
Oh, it's horrible. Horrible.
A glass coffin with a skeleton in it.
Isn't this a lovely suit, Chris? It just came. And I also ordered some fresh cigars for you, darling. Is there anything else you want?
And so ends the tale, to have and to hold, as it is written in the sealed book. The body of Christopher Drake, which for 40 years had been encased by a glass coffin, was removed from the old mansion and buried. Shortly afterwards, Olivia died. Her last words were, "I'm coming, Chris." And now, keeper of the book, before you close the great volume, show us the tale we tell next time. This one. Ah, yes. The strange story of a scoundrel who became wealthy through swindling hundreds of innocent people, only to discover that all his money couldn't protect him from justice. A tale titled Murderer Unknown. Be sure to be with us again next time when the sound of the great gong heralds another strange and exciting tale from The Sealed Book. The Sealed Book, produced and directed by Jock McGregor, is written by Bob Arthur and David Cogan.
Our next broadcast is a supernatural fantasy series that ran from 1943 through 1945. There were 78 episodes produced altogether. The show's strength was stories from famous writers of the two genres, including Robert Louis Stevenson, Victor Hugo, Edgar Allan Poe, and even Charles Dickens. One of the more unusual aspects of the show was that there was no music, other than between scenes. Some have claimed that this lack of music helps to keep the show from being dated, as it remains fresh to this day. We present to you The Weird Circle on HOJO Radio.
I demand that time cease. The past will return and the stories of yesterday unfold. Listen to The Weird Circle. In this cave by the restless sea, we are met to call from out the past stories strange and weird. Bellkeeper, toll the bell, so all may know we are gathered again in the Weird Circle.
Good evening, Weird Circle fans. Welcome once again to the Ogden's Playhouse. Tonight we bring you one of the strangest stories ever told, The Rope of Hair, based on Apparition by Guy de Maupassant. Here is a truly novel ghost story we hope you'll enjoy. We know you'll enjoy Ogden's Fine Cut if you roll your own cigarettes. That's why we suggest you try Ogden's, the aristocrat of cigarette tobaccos. When you taste the rich, cool goodness of Ogden's, you're sure to agree that here is the kind of smoking enjoyment you want when you roll your own cigarettes. You'll find Ogden's easy to roll, delightful to smoke. Yes, easy to roll, delightful to smoke. And now our story, The Rope of Hair.
Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by, speak again the immortal tale, The Rope of Hair.
I am often puzzled by the three processes, love, hate, and death, which, perhaps more than the others, influences our minds. I have learned but little more of them in my life. Perhaps the words and secrets of the three were in the diary in the old chateau. I have never known that. But I have learned fear. I have become afraid of the night. It was long ago when I was in garrison at Rouen. I was walking one evening along the quay when I observed a man who looked up at me from thoughtful contemplation of the slowly moving water. I hesitated, surprised at something, some recognition in his eyes.
Victor.
Yes?
Victor, don't you know me?
Why, Jacques. Can it be you, Jacques Lafontaine?
Yes, Victor, of course.
Well, Jacques, I can't believe it's really you.
Then even my oldest friend doesn't know me.
But it's been so long, Jacques, so long since our last meeting. It's 5 years since Jean d'Arc's ball.
It's changed me then.
Well, at first I didn't recognize you, but in 5 years...
In 5 years, most people don't grow gray and stoop, do they, Victor?
It depends.
Say it, man. Go ahead and say it. You think I've let myself go. You even think I was ready to jump off the quay.
Well, were you?
You've always been like that, Victor. Calm and easy. But no. In fact, unbelievable as it may seem, I was wondering where you were.
You must have known I was stationed here.
Yes, everyone knows where the distinguished captain, the Marquis de la Tour Samuel, can be found. But, you see, Victor, I hated the thought of coming to you like this.
But as officers, we must soon have had business together anyway.
Then you haven't even heard that...
Heard what?
That I had resigned my commission. Left the glory of our country in the hands of the dashing...
Doc, you had a fine career ahead of you. Your position, your influence, they pointed to everything I had.
And now perhaps everything is behind. Is that it, Victor?
Oh, life is never as bitter as that. For men as young as we, a great deal lies ahead.
For a man who has written his own destiny in one moment? No.
What's happened, Jacques? Can't you tell me? Perhaps supper, a little entertainment. The city will be lively tonight. It'll do you good to forget your trouble.
Thank you, Victor, but we've been walking toward my rooming house. I hoped you might dine with me. We can talk quietly there.
Because we're old friends, yes. For anyone else, though, well, the evening is young and there are other things to do in the city.
Just this one evening. Can't you, Victor?
If that's what you want, Jacques, my time is yours.
Good. Here. This is the place here.
This?
I know it's not a good section of the city. The place is run down, but it's comfortable. And with your soldiers quartered here, it was hard to find any place to stay at all. Come on in.
Let me follow you, Jacques. It's so dark in here, I can't see where to go.
I'll get some candles. There. Now, come on up this way. My room is right here at the top of the stairs. This door.
Well, go on, open it. What's the matter? Shh. What is it, Jacques?
I don't know.
Here, let me have the candle. It'll shake out of your hand. Now what's happened?
There's something. Somebody in there.
Well, open the door and find out.
Perhaps we've had enough.
If there's somebody in your room, we'll find out who it is.
No, Victor, please. Please, Victor.
What's frightening you so?
Oh,
good evening, monsieur.
Oh, Mrs. Dupre.
Yes, monsieur. Did I startle you? You see, it was time for supper, so I brought it up to you, monsieur. I lit the candles in your room. I know that you...
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Dupre, and bring another, please. The captain's dining with me.
But certainly, monsieur. Immediately, monsieur.
Come in, Victor. We'll wait just a few minutes until she comes back.
I think your Mrs. Dupre was as frightened as you were. Do you always frighten each other?
No, it was just that I didn't expect...
Jacques, seriously, what's on your mind? Certainly you aren't living in this place from choice. It's so near your own chateau. Why aren't you there?
That's what I wanted to talk to you about, Victor.
Well, if it's money, Jacques, why say so? You know you needn't go through all this. I'll gladly...
It's more than money.
Well, then, love?
Love, Victor? In the circle of things, where does hate end and love begin? Can you answer that?
Did you want me to come up here to talk riddles, Jacques?
Well, it was love, Victor. The most beautiful woman in the world.
Well, come on, out with it. Don't just sit there picking at the front of your tunic as though you were covered with dog hairs. What's this all about?
What?
Ever since we sat down, you've been pulling imaginary hairs out of your jacket there. Can't you sit still for a minute and relax?
Oh, was I? Oh, I'm sorry, Victor, but you see, I'm going to ask a favor of you that I'd hate to ask anyone else.
Anything you say, Jacques.
You see, several years ago, right after you last saw me, I was married to the most beautiful woman in the world. Oh, life was a sweet thing. We were the happiest couple in France.
And what happened?
She died, Victor. She died, and now she's dead and rotting in her grave. That's what death does to people, isn't it, Victor? She died just 1 year after I'd married her. Just 1 year of terrible happiness. Terrible because I guess no man has a right to so much... Well, on the day she died, I locked the door to our room, left the chateau, and as you see, Victor, I can never make myself go back.
And you want something?
Would you do it? Would you go back to our room there, Victor?
What do you want me to do?
In the right-hand drawer of the desk in our room, there is a book. A diary which right now can mean more to me than anything else in the world. You'll know it because on it, it's marked with my crest across the front. Will you go?
I'll go tomorrow. I'll be free then.
I'll wait here until you come back with it. Oh, Victor.
Your supper, monsieur.
Oh.
I've brought it up as quickly as I could. Will that be all right, monsieur? You see the...
Just put it on the table, Mrs. Dupre. Thank you.
There, monsieur. I hope you enjoy it, monsieur.
Victor, sit down there. I'll write a note to the caretaker at the chateau and get you the keys to the room and to the desk.
Hasn't he the keys?
No one has a key to that room but me.
Why, Jacques? Is it haunted?
No.
Oh, come, Jacques. Your nerves are all on edge. Let's go out. There's a little place...
No, thank you, Victor. I'll stay here until tomorrow. Tomorrow when you come back with the diary.
I left him then, sunk into that attitude of deep concentration I had noticed as he stared into the dark waters of the Seine. For a while I forgot Jacques. But the strange depression and fear that marked his attitude had shocked me. The way he sat, almost afraid to speak, plucking those imaginary hairs from the front of his tunic like a weak, frightened child. Not like the stalwart, ambitious young man I had known as a companion in boyhood. A young man, if ever there was one, destined to become the pride of his regiment. In the morning, my ride across the fields and through the cool summer woods somehow filled me with an intoxicating happiness. I took with me for a companion a Lieutenant Leroc, a friend of mine from the regiment, and I was thankful later for his sensible company. But in the exhilaration of the moment, I almost forgot the gloomy implications of my trip.
There's that old chateau, Captain. Have you noticed it before?
That's where we're going.
To that place?
Yes, I have an errand there. You know the place, then?
Oh, I've passed by it several times. Never stopped. I thought it was deserted until the other day when I saw an old man standing by the gate.
Caretaker, isn't he?
I guess so. He threw stones at one of my soldiers who tried to stop for water. Chased him away before he could get inside the gates. I almost had to have the man thrown in jail to calm the soldiers' feelings.
Well, he's not on guard today.
He's not at work either. Look at the condition of this place. Why, the gate's practically rusted off its hinges.
I can remember when this lawn was as smooth as velvet, and every path was well kept. But it's not my worry. Oh, where is this confounded caretaker anyway?
I'll see, Captain. Hey there!
No sign of life? I'll join you.
Is anybody here?
Try another door, Lerock.
Yes, sir. I'll try this one around the side.
Well? You the caretaker?
Yes, I am Pierre. What is it you want?
I have a letter here.
Well, there's no one here. Can't you see that? This place is deserted.
The letter is for you.
Well, then give it here.
See here, you. Take off your hat when you're addressing an officer.
Never mind, Lerock. Let him read the letter. I'm anxious to get this over. Military dignity doesn't have much place here.
What's that? That once did. This was the proudest house in Normandy.
Never mind, Pierre. Read the letter.
Well, I have read it.
Well?
Well, what do you want?
You ought to know. Your master's orders are there. I want to enter the chateau.
Are you going into his room?
Are you trying to put me through an examination?
But, well, I'll go and see if it is prepared. If it is all right.
That won't be necessary.
But it has not been entered since the death. I'd better see you.
But you see, Pierre, I have the key, and you have not. Now step back. Let us go through.
Yes, Captain. Right through my kitchen there. That door enters the main hall.
Come on, Ross.
Coming, sir.
This door, Pierre?
Yes, Captain. Through there and up the stairs.
Oh, look, Captain. Look at the size of this hall.
Yes, Lerock. And look at the dust. Must be half an inch thick on that table.
You know, it must have been magnificent here once.
I knew it well when it was. Here, the stairs are over here. Let's go up. Somehow I don't like the place so much now.
Oh. The old man has shut the door down there. I don't think he likes us very much.
We're just invading his privacy, that's all. Anybody'd be strange stuck in this place.
Well, I certainly wouldn't like it.
This is the door, I think.
Why, the air hasn't been changed in here for years.
What's that? Smells like a tomb.
It's dark enough to be one. I'll open that shutter over there. Oh, it's stuck, Captain.
Never mind. My eyes are getting used to the dim light now, anyway.
Yes, so are mine now. Look at this room. Somebody must have had a fight in here. The furniture's all out of place.
Stop imagining things, Lerock. I don't like this at all. Let's not add anything to this by digging into a man's private past.
Captain, didn't you say you had the only key to this room?
Yes, I have. Why?
Look at the bed. Why, the pillow's still pressed down. Somebody's been lying on it.
And lying very still. Look there. You can almost see the form of the body pressed into the covers.
Almost like a corpse.
A noted craftsman in the matter of plotting and weaving incredible and absorbing tales, Guy de Maupassant is at his best in this Weird Circle narrative. Friends, you'll find roll-your-own smoking at its best when you make your choice Ogden's, the hallmark of true smoking enjoyment. When you visit your tobacconist, ask for the handy green package labeled Ogden's, O-G-D-E-N''S, Ogden's, and follow the lead of satisfied smokers everywhere who, making Ogden's their watchword, have gained regular smoking satisfaction from a cigarette tobacco whose quality, smoothness, and all-round goodness have long been established. The name Ogden's is famous with smokers from coast to coast. Make Ogden's your watchword for good roll-your-own smoking and treat yourself to the best. You'll find Ogden's easy to roll, delightful to smoke. Yes, easy to roll, delightful to smoke. And now, back to our story. To help his friend Jacques, and to discover the cause of his depression and fear, Victor, the dashing young Marquis de la Tour Samuel, has undertaken to retrieve 3 packets of papers from Jacques' deserted chateau. He had already entered the room, unopened since the death of Jacques' wife, when he discovered to his horror the imprint of a body still pressed into the covers and pillow of the bed.
Almost like a corpse. Yes, it was almost as though a corpse had lain there. But all at once, the ridiculous aspect of the situation brought me back to my senses. Lerock?
Yes, Captain.
You'd better go stand guard outside the door so that our real menace, the caretaker, doesn't come up and interrupt us. I'll get the diary I'm after, and we'll get out of here.
Very well, Captain. I'll shut the door so you won't be disturbed.
I was trying to sound brave. There are times when the uniform of a captain forces courage. But I did feel better with Lerock guarding the door. A draft from the still-shuttered window was beginning to freshen the atmosphere. I opened the drawer of the desk and began fumbling among the litter of papers there. I found the diary, just as Jacques said I would, in a plain packet with his crest on the face of it, a crest that had been the bravest in France. The breeze from the window stirred the hangings behind me, but engrossed as I was in finding the diary, I paid but little attention to the stirring in the room.
Yes. There it is. You have really come for it. But you are not Jacques. I shall try to remember. He should have come. Not you. No. You are not Jacques. But you will do as well.
For endless time, I say, we faced each other there. But only for a moment, really. The woman seated herself in a chair. Her white garment made no sound as she put her hand to her head. She tried to stroke the long black hair that hung almost to the floor. It was black, but with a blackness that has no light, no life. In her other hand, she had a comb. She held it toward me.
Monsieur, you can do me a great service. I am suffering. Oh, I am suffering so. They will not comb my hair. You will comb my hair. You will comb my hair. Oh, I am suffering.
I took the comb from her hand and lifted that long hair. That hair which gave my skin a feeling of awful cold. A feeling of handling snakes. Cold. Cold and dead. The feeling still clings about my fingers. I handled that icy hair. I twisted it. I braided it. I bound it and unbound it. And while I let that horrible mane run through my fingers, she sighed and, trance-like, began to talk, forgetting, perhaps, that I was not Jacques.
Ah, that's better. The mirror is gone now. The mirror in which I watched you so many times combing my hair. And with what adoration in your eyes. Your brave, strong fingers playing there in the hair of a weak woman. So brave, so strong. Jacques loves me. Jacques loves me. That was the song that my heart sang when first we were here like this. I love Jacques. I love Jacques. That was the song I thought was echoed back. But pride and strength and killing. Yes, I saw you kill Jacques. Once I saw you kill for power. Power, strength, pride, being a soldier, being strong, they were your idols. What does a weak woman want of those things? When you brought me here, Jacques, my head was high. My pulses beat with joy at the peace and happiness I expected. But you'd always been strong, Jacques. Always strong and brutal with the strength you adored. Then when I saw you kill Jacques, I knew that the fascination of hate was my love. Hatred of you, of whom I need fear nothing because you loved me. Hate, not love.
I was fascinated too, Jacques, when I wrote these things. Wrote them in that diary you're taking. Wrote of my hatred and my growing fear of you. Then that day, I watched you in the mirror as you braided my hair. Braided it into a strong rope. And because I'd written that I hated you, slip it slowly, so slowly and calmly, over my head and around my neck. But you will never do it again, will you, Jacques? Because now, Jacques, you're going to comb it free again. Comb it free when I come to you for that diary. Yes, Jacques is going to comb it free again. I shall come for the diary, Jacques.
Laroque!
What is it, Captain?
This closet door. That woman went in there. For the love of heaven, open it quickly.
But, Captain, it's locked, bolted outside here.
Can't be. She went in there.
Who?
That woman who was here.
Well, no one came in here, so perhaps it was a shadow.
No, Laroque. I saw her. I heard... Can I be mad?
I'll break that shutter, Captain. We'll have some light.
And the closet door was bolted. In the light that flooded the room, I began to feel foolish. There was no sign, no indication, except for an overturned chair, that I had not been alone the whole time. With more calmness than I felt, we descended the great stair, crossed the huge, dusty hall, and were at last out in the fresh air. We did not see Pierre again when we left the chateau. We drew rein before my lodgings. The groom took our horses.
Well, sir, the ride has been very pleasant. But, Captain, do you feel all right?
Laroque, I'm going up to my room. I need a rest. Will you deliver this diary to my friend? Here's the address. Tell him anything you like. Tell him I'm ill, sunstroke, anything at all. I'll see him later.
Of course, Captain. Just a moment, sir.
What is it? Why are you looking at the front of my coat like that?
Why, those hairs.
Hairs?
Yes, Captain, all twisted in the buttons. They're long and black like a woman's.
Yes, there were the same dead long hairs twisted in the buttons of my jacket. I pulled at them, every nerve in my body revolting at the cold feeling. Slowly, one by one, I pulled them off, dropping them from my fingers like poison things.
Can I help you, Captain?
Could he help me? No, but there was another he could help. I remembered how Jacques had sat, like a bashful child, pulling at the imaginary hairs in the front of his coat, begging me to get that diary to him. No, Laroque. Take this diary to my friend quickly. Quickly, Laroque.
Yes, sir.
It was better in my room. Somehow I could think there. But Jacques, his fear and his worry haunted me. A few hairs still clung to my jacket. Absently, I pulled them out and dropped them from the window, every nerve in my body revolting at their cold feeling. Then, with a sudden resolve, I went into the street again and headed toward Jacques' lodgings. I knew that I had to talk to him about what had happened. I hurried across the city. Laroque came toward me a few steps from Jacques' house.
Captain.
Have you delivered the diary already, Laroque?
I left it in his room, Captain. The gentleman wasn't at home.
Not there? He promised to wait until I got back.
The room was empty. The concierge had not seen him go out, Captain, but she had been in the basement, and he might have slipped out without her seeing him.
Very well, Laroque. I'll go and see him.
Do you wish me to come, sir?
No, you go on. I'll wait for him to come back.
Very well. It's that house right there, sir.
That house right there. That house right there. As though I wouldn't know that dirty doorway, those warped steps. Every detail of the last 24 hours seemed to have fixed itself like an etching in my brain.
Yes, monsieur.
I must see Monsieur Jacques. Monsieur Jacques.
But he's not in, monsieur. There was another gentleman just a few minutes ago.
He must be here. Let me in.
But, monsieur...
He must be.
Monsieur, I tell you that he's...
This is his door, isn't it?
He's not in, monsieur.
We'll see about that. Jacques. Be quiet. Stand there.
He's dead. Oh, monsieur, he's dead. In my house.
His hand is cold. Is there a doctor near here?
Yes, monsieur. I'll call him.
Jacques was sitting huddled in a chair, a surprised look on his face. But he was white. White and somehow shriveled. I looked around for the diary which Laroque had delivered, but it was not to be seen. Some touch of the fear I had felt in facing the woman at Jacques' chateau chilled me again. After only a moment, I heard voices outside in the passageway.
It is here, monsieur. A gentleman came, and we found him so...
All right, then take me in there.
It doesn't seem it could be possible. It was only a few minutes ago, and I saw with my own eyes that Monsieur Jacques was not in his room. It could not be.
Be quiet, please.
It isn't possible.
Quiet, please. Pardon, monsieur. What has happened here?
I don't know anything more than she has told you. We came in and found him this way, in the chair.
Let's see. His pulse? Yes, he's dead, no doubt of that. His hand's cold already.
But there was no way in which...
The man must have led an active life. He was not very old, and yet...
The doctor leaned, peering over Jacques' body. His hand reached out slowly toward the front of the coat. He plucked at one of the buttons.
Here. What do you suppose this is? Why, it's a hair. Long, black hair. And there are more of them. Almost as though he had been combing a woman's hair when he died.
Look, monsieur. Still more of them. Around his neck.
I watched the doctor with his thumb and forefinger hold the hair before his curiously staring eyes. I knew then that it had been no shadow I had seen at the chateau. I had heard the threatening words, and she had come for the diary at last.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you the story, The Rope of Hair. Bellkeeper, toll the bell.
We return now to reality and to the problem of rolling your own cigarettes. The solution is Ogden's fine-cut tobacco. With Ogden's, you're sure of getting the best in rolling and the best in smoking. That's why we suggest you remember the name OGDEN''S, Ogden's, when in need of cigarette tobacco. Your smoking problem ends and your smoking enjoyment begins the moment you turn to Ogden's. That's a statement you'll want to check for yourself. And that's why we say, try Ogden's. You'll find Ogden's easy to roll, delightful to smoke. Yes, easy to roll, delightful to smoke. Next week at this same time, the Weird Circle will present Falkland, a story by Edward George and E. Bulwer Lytton. Be sure to listen. The Rope of Hair was an adaptation of the Guy de Maupassant story, Apparition. Attention, pipe smokers. For a smooth, fragrant smoke, try Ogden's Cut Plug.
You're listening to HOJO Radio. Stay tuned.
Who are the outstanding writers of weird and uncanny stories?
De Maupassant, Bulwer Lytton, Wilkie Collins.
Where can I hear these stories?
Listen to the Weird Circle. The Weird Circle. In this cave by the restless sea, we are met to call from out the past stories strange and weird. Bellkeeper, toll the bell, so all may know we are gathered again in the Weird Circle.
The Ogden's Playhouse returns to the air with another Weird Circle presentation. To be heard this evening is a remarkable story with a distinct flavor of mysticism. Falkland, by E. Bulwer Lytton. There's a flavor, too, in Ogden's fine-cut tobacco. Its distinctive character keeps smokers asking for Ogden's to roll their own cigarettes. No wonder, then, that Ogden's is famous for making and keeping friends among smokers who roll their own cigarettes. Make the acquaintance of Ogden's. You'll like its friendly character. Ogden's is easy to roll, delightful to smoke. Yes, easy to roll, delightful to smoke. And now the Ogden's Playhouse presents Falkland by E. Bulwer Lytton.
Out of the past, phantoms of a world gone by, speak again the immortal tale, Falkland.
Falkland, you who seek the wisdom of the universe beyond the time of man, look to the lightning and the thunder. What are the words of fire you seek tonight?
Voice of the tempest, I look for the secrets of wisdom no man knows.
What is this wisdom you would know?
The darkest and ultimate triumph of life itself.
The secret of death? Such wisdom requires a price.
I will pay the price gladly, whatever it may be.
The price is the greatest a mortal man can pay. Being so wise, whomever you love within the narrow confines of this earth will die.
I love no one. The price is cheap.
Then beware of the time when you do love.
The bargain's made. Tell me the secret.
Death is a lovely wound, healed by infinity into an eternal circle of light. Far off, far beyond your thought, beyond the eclipse of time, beyond this universe of stars and dust.
Everything I need.
I forget you're an austere member of Parliament, and excitement isn't in character. Well, I suppose when I get you happily married and settled here at Mandeville, I'll have to advertise for a husband for myself, or else I'll be a dour old maid.
Nonsense, you. I can't believe it.
Hello. Hello, Robert.
Hello, Emily.
I'm sorry to be late, Julia.
Emily, where have you been?
Way down past the orchard over that hill. Oh, I'm out of breath. The country is really so beautiful.
Then you like it here at Mandeville, do you, Emily?
Oh, yes. The house is almost as big as a castle. But, Robert, there's a dreadful storm coming up. The sky's almost black as pitch. Must you go tonight?
If I don't, I may be late for my own wedding, and you'd hate me for that.
And so would I.
Anyway, business comes before the pleasure of being married. Goodbye, you two. Take good care of Emily for me, Julia.
I will.
Hurry back to Mandeville, Robert.
Oh, it's not Mandeville I'll hurry back to, but to you, my beautiful bride. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Robert. Oh, what a shame he has to go. And on such an awful night.
Now, don't tell me you're afraid of storms.
Well, I am a wee bit.
I had a reason.
What? I bet I know. That's where the wedding's going to be. Under the arbor.
Robert told you.
No, I guessed. It's such a perfect place.
And there are millions of buds, Emily, just ready to bloom. Why, Emily, you're not listening to a word I say. Why do you keep staring out of the window like that?
Julia came to the edge of the wood, looking up, as if he were talking to the... Who do you suppose he was?
Certainly sounds like our Midland. As though you wouldn't think so, the way he stays cooped up in that old house of his. Anything else. Folk are frightened to death of it. He works in his dryer and nothing.
Oh, what a legend.
No, Robert was there.
Well, then you must know him.
Not very well. But my, isn't it strange that you should see Mr. Falkland on your first day at Mandeville? Very few people ever meet him at all.
He saw me, too. He looked tomorrow night.
Oh, he'd never accept, Emily. He never goes anywhere.
Well, ask him just the same. What harm can it do?
It would be a feather in our caps if he came to Mandeville.
Oh, yes.
And wouldn't Robert be surprised? All right, I'm game. We'll send him a note in the morning. But, Mr. Falkland, you must admit that living the life of a recluse, so to speak, would arouse the curiosity of the village.
Oh, you're right, low Italy.
Is that you then, Mr. Falkland? Spend your time at study?
Why, I scented my happiness and dying thirst somewhere inside, quenched mostly to myself, but that makes me no less.
Of course, here we are at Mandeville, and you have forgotten your studies. At least for a little while.
And I'm indebted to both of you for the dinner as well as the diversion. Now I shall go. I mustn't outstay my welcome.
Oh, but you're always welcome at Mandeville.
Mr. Falkland, Sometimes my feminine curiosity gets the better of my good manners. And I'd like to ask you a question. I was wondering why you happened to come tonight when you've so often declined before.
Would you like a frank answer?
Robert says a frank answer is always better than a subtle one.
Well, then, I'll not be subtle. Yesterday, when I was walking on the hill, I saw a beautiful young lady on the path below, just at the edge of the wood. It occurred to me that she might be a guest here at Mandeville, and so I came to meet her. You see, my motive was entirely selfish. Now, good night. I'll go by way of your terrace and garden, if I may. Goodbye, Miss Lindale.
Good night, Mr. Falkland.
Well, no wonder people say he's strange. He is. Imagine, he came to Mandeville just to meet you and freely admitted it. I'm glad he's gone, Emily. Emily, look at me. Why, you're very pale.
Am I, Julia? I guess it's that disturbing Mr. Falkland. It does have a curious effect on one, doesn't it? Here, so close. I think I'll go for a walk in the rose garden.
All right, but don't be long.
But let us love while yet we may. Our summer is decaying, and woe to hearts that in their grey December go a-maying. Who's there? Oh, Mr. Falkland, it's you.
I thought the rose arbor would hide me, Miss Lindale. Sorry to frighten you.
Well, it was quite a shock for a moment.
I've been enjoying the midnight beauty of the garden. Such roses and moonlight don't grow at Glenmere. But now I'll be on my way.
Oh, no, don't go on my account. I was only just walking around for a bit. I wasn't a bit sleepy, and the night air is very tempting.
Miss Lindale, I mustn't talk with you. Make me go. I don't have the will to do it myself.
But why should you go, Mr. Falkland? You are a strange man. You know, I didn't say it tonight, but I felt very keenly that I've known you before, and I can't remember where.
It was a meeting you dreamed. I've dreamed it, too.
Oh, it seems more than the fancy of a dream.
But it was the only way I could reach you. Dreams are safe, and there's no safety in tonight. Aren't you afraid?
Of what? Of the moonlight?
No. Of me. Look in my eyes and tell me what you see.
A picture of a girl in an arbor of roses.
Is the girl alive?
Oh, quite alive. And laughing.
Well, then you know now why I can't meet you again. Ever again.
But I was only going to ask you if you'd go with Julia and me to the beach on Friday. And now you've refused before I could invite you. What do you mean? Why can't you come back to Mandeville?
Because I'd fall in love with the roses and the roses would die.
Oh, Julia told me that silly legend. I don't say you believe it yourself.
I only want to believe that I saw you here caught in a compliment of moonlight, not in a dream. Emily, that verse you were saying, speak it again.
Oh, now.
Close your eyes, please, and speak it again, so I'll remember you.
All right. I'll close my eyes if you wish. But let us love while yet we may. Our summer is decaying. And woe to hearts that in their grey December go a-maying. Mr. Falkland? Mr. Falkland? Why, he's gone away.
Look what a lovely nautilus shell I found buried in the sand. Why, Emily, what is the matter? Emily, ever since...
Julia, look who's that coming over the dunes.
Why, it's Mr. Falkland. Whatever is he doing here at the beach?
Hello there.
Hello, Mr. Falkland.
Emily, I really don't think we should encourage him.
Have you come to help us find the loveliest shells from the sea, Mr. Falkland?
I have, Miss Lindale, if you'll forgive me for intruding like this.
Oh, the beach needs company, too. Did you ever see such a lonesome place?
We've been waiting for a guide and boatman from the village, but he seems to have lost his way instead.
Well, now what difference does it make? Now we can visit the cave, Julia. Mr. Falkland will take her.
She's had her heart set on seeing the pirate's den. Oh, but, Emily, I'm too tired. I'm too exhausted to move an inch.
Well, then you can wait here while Mr. Falkland and I go. We won't be long. Oh, do you mind, Julia? And how will we know the cave?
Well, you see, even the prospect of an adventure makes her happy, Mr. Falkland. Well, if I remember rightly, the entrance to the den is small at the foot of the cliff, and you stoop to walk in, and then the floor suddenly slopes upward, and you go up a little way and inside the cliff itself. Now run along and hurry back. I'll wait for you here. Mr. Falkland, do you suppose she'll ever grow up one of these days?
funny. The daylight from the mouth of the cave lights the walls. Oh, let's go back. It's so dark and it's too much like a tomb.
Miss Linvale. Emily, wait a moment.
I knew you'd come today, Mr. Falkland.
I tried to stay away.
But I was as lonesome as the sea.
Well, then you hoped I'd come.
My heart was very tight with wishing. You're the wisest man in the world.
Tell me, is it wrong?
I love you more than you know. But it cannot be. We mustn't see each other ever again.
Then this is love, I feel. And I'm not ashamed. I'm glad to know I never loved Robert at all.
Oh, my Emily, if I thought I could cheat death and take you from him. Don't you see, my darling? There's a contagion in every breath I breathe. Death grows inside of me. And I'm afraid to touch you. Afraid I'll murder what I love.
Then touch me now. Take my hand. There, you see, it's a foolish fear.
Emily, wait. It's grown so dark in here.
Falkland, the tide. It's filling the den.
Hurry, we must get out quickly. We'll have to swim underwater out of the mouth of the cave now before it's too late. Are you afraid?
No, not with you.
Then promise. If we live, you'll be my bride. We'll go away, far away together.
I promise. I promise.
But if we die...
Mustn't speak of dying.
Being so wise, Falkland, whomever you love within the narrow confines of this earth will die.
The mystery of life and death has always been a challenge to mankind. Many have attempted to probe this deep secret. Falkland, for instance, believed he achieved a measure of success, as we will learn in the second half of tonight's Weird Circle story. To the smoker who rolls his own cigarettes, the popularity of Ogden's fine-cut tobacco holds no secret. When you roll a cigarette with Ogden's, you know at once why Ogden's is the popular choice of roll-your-own cigarette smokers in Canada. Smooth, uniform texture, satisfying taste are at once evident in Ogden's, the cigarette tobacco famous for its unvarying high quality. You know Ogden's is a good tobacco the moment you see it. The moment you taste a cigarette rolled with Ogden's, you know it's the tobacco you've been looking for. The high quality of Ogden's is well known to smokers who roll their own cigarettes. So here's a reminder to try a package. You'll find Ogden's easy to roll, delightful to smoke. Yes, easy to roll, delightful to smoke. And now back to our story. On a visit to the sea, Falkland and Emily explore the pirate's den, a cave in a seaside cliff. The tide suddenly begins to fill the cave. Falkland, believing the curse of death is coming true, confesses his love. And Emily promises to marry him if they escape.
Man, we'll never get there before the tide's full.
I'm doing the best I can, Mum. Didn't you know the pirate's den is dangerous? Many's the pair of lovers who drown there.
Oh, but they're not in love. Save them.
The tide comes in swift as an arrow here on the cliffs.
Look, there's the place just ahead. Veer a little to the right. Oh, how high the water is. Is it too deep for you to dive?
I don't know, Mum. I can't promise to get them out.
Wait, look there. There they are. Oh, there they are, swimming toward us.
My Come, they've cheated the tide. They're a lucky pair.
Emily, Mr. Falkland! Row faster.
They must have discovered the tide in time and swum under it, out of the cave.
Yes, but they're safe, and that's all that matters. Emily! Mr. Falkland! Now, Emily, keep the covers pulled up and just rest. Here's some broth.
Thank you, Julia. I'm all right now. Where's Mr. Falkland?
He went home by way of the garden.
Will he be back soon?
Of course not. Why do you ask that?
He saved my life. I haven't thanked him.
Oh, nonsense. He didn't do more than any other man would have. Now, you drink this broth.
Julia, I must see him. Send a servant. Ask Mr. Falkland to come.
Emily. Oh, you're feverish. Your forehead's so warm. But I want to tell him not to be afraid.
Emily, what's happened? You frighten me the way you talk.
There's something I want you to tell Robert. Will you, Julia? Tell him we can't be married now.
What?
Oh, don't you understand? From the first moment I saw Mr. Falkland that day on the hill, I was hopelessly in love with him. I couldn't help it, Julia. It roared inside me like thunder.
Emily, I won't listen to this nonsense.
Is it nonsense to be in love? Oh, I never knew before what it was like. I only thought I was in love with Robert.
What has this man Falkland done to you? He's evil. He bends people to his will.
Oh, no, Julia. Nothing can change the way I feel. Nothing in this world. Now send for him, please. Tell him to come.
I'll do nothing of the kind.
Oh, try to understand. Do you want me to marry Robert when you know I love someone else?
Emily, this is outrageous. I'm going to send the carriage to London. When Robert comes, you'll have to tell him this yourself. Really, Emily, I never thought you capable of such deceit.
Oh, you don't understand. You don't know what it is. Now let me get up. He'll come back to the garden and I'll wait for him there. Falkland, here I am, under the arbor.
Oh, my Emily, I've been so worried, so afraid you were ill.
Julia said I shouldn't have come. But I had to see you, Falkland. Do you remember the promise?
I remember little else.
Where will you take me then? Far away. Somewhere I've never been.
Wherever you please, my darling. So long as you're there and I'm with you.
Now you see how silly your fears were. But I was afraid you'd stay away from me because of it.
Well, what have you done? Is there some magic in your eyes that defies even death itself? Oh, Emily, I'm not afraid anymore. Look at me. The curse is gone, and I can touch you and kiss you without fear of some terrible disaster. Emily, I'm happier than I've ever been before.
Falkland, look at that star. The first and brightest of the evening. Do you also understand the stars?
I only understand that you're safe and alive, and that love is the greatest wisdom of all.
Even now you look for wisdom. Oh, Falkland, I'm deliriously tired. When will you come for me? When will we go?
I'm resigned to say tomorrow. I dare not say tonight.
Tomorrow, then. But it's a long time away.
There's a minister in the village.
I'll not miss the roses.
I'll arrange the time and send you a note when to meet me and where, but I'm afraid to let you out of my sight.
There's nothing to fear. I'll be at the spot whenever you say. Not even death itself would stop me. Good night, Falkland. Good night.
Oh, Robert, I thought you'd never get here.
Well, I came as quickly as I could. Where is Emily?
She's been in bed all day. She's ill. I know she is. Oh, Robert, you've got to make her see it's not too late.
Have you talked with her today?
She's been asleep in the room next door, murmuring Falkland's name and speaking of death and thunder and all manner of evil things. She's pale. She even cries in her sleep.
Then she won't see this Falkland again. I'll make sure of that.
Oh, but she's so determined, Robert. Last night, in spite of anything I could do, she went out in the garden to meet him.
How could you allow such a thing?
How could I stop it? She's possessed with evil.
And this letter, it's from Falkland?
A messenger brought it this morning. I didn't dare give it to Emily before you came.
Have you read it?
Oh, no, it's addressed to her.
Well, we'll certainly see what devilish stuff he's written. My darling Emily, I'm distracted with terrible apprehensions. I ask myself, how is Emily today? Does she love me still? And will she love me in spite of the disgrace Robert Mandeville may heap upon her? Tell him we love honorably and completely, as no two people have before. My darling, the time is midnight tonight. I'll be waiting on the road where it touches the lake. All my love, Falkland.
Robert, they're running away tonight.
I'm going to talk to Emily.
Oh, it's a terrible thing, Robert. She doesn't know what she's doing. Make her see how wrong it is.
Wait here. I'll call if I need you. Emily, are you awake?
Robert? Oh, Robert, I'm glad you're back. Please come in.
Julia sent for me. I left my business at a crucial time. What is all this I've been hearing about you and that devil Falkland?
Oh, Robert, don't be annoyed. Don't raise your voice. I've been waiting to see you, to tell you myself.
Well, what is it? And why are you in bed? Are you ill?
Well, I do feel a little tired.
You know, don't you, that I won't let you do this drastic thing. That man has some power over you.
He loves me, Robert, more than ever you could. Oh, please try to understand. If I hurt you, I'm sorry and ask to be forgiven. I wouldn't harm you intentionally. I love Falkland in spite of anything you do or say. I can't help it, and nor can he.
Do you know what you're saying?
Yes, Robert, I do know.
You're ill. You're not yourself. This letter from Falkland. Emily, I have never read such a scandalous letter. I'll not allow you to wreck your life like this.
Is it for me? Robert, you had no right to read my letter. Give it here.
No, you'll never see it. Believe me, Emily, I know what's best.
Robert, stop. Don't burn my letter.
There. There now. An oil lamp has a second use, to destroy an evil thing.
How can I ever forgive you for that? Now it's gone. Where did he say to meet him? What was the time?
You'll never see Falkland again. You're to be my wife, Emily, and you've got to get this man out of your mind.
Robert, you don't know what you're doing. Now I must leave Mandeville. I must go to him.
You'll do nothing of the kind. Lie back. You're too weak to walk.
But I must. Help me, Robert, please.
Oh, Emily, what have you done to yourself? You're so pale. You're so ill.
Oh, Falkland.
Emily. Julia, come here.
What is it, Robert?
Emily's fainted. She's very ill.
Oh, poor child. Robert, send for a doctor quickly before the storm comes.
Watch her closely. This is one night Falkland will not have his way.
Falkland, where is the place of meeting? What is the time? Where are you waiting, Falkland?
Soul, in the thunder of the night, why do you weep?
For the loss of my love, which I cannot find. Where is Falkland? What is the time and place?
The time is eternal. The place is infinite, where sorrow is not known. Go back through the thunder, and leave the sorrow of your loss in the flesh of your loved one's heart. Go back through the thunder.
Oh, I thought I'd never find you.
Emily, my darling, come quickly before the storm breaks. Oh, you're more beautiful than ever.
I'm happy tonight. But, oh, my darling, don't you see? You must go alone.
Alone? Well, what do you mean, alone?
Until the time comes when we can meet again. Don't touch me now.
Emily, the curse is not dead. You've gone away from me.
Only as far as the strength of our love goes through the thunder. Bear the sorrow, Falkland. And sorrow will not allow you to forget. Goodbye, my darling. Goodbye.
Stop! Oh, there. Are you from Mandeville?
Yes, we're doctors from the village. What do you want? We're racing the store.
What's happened there? Miss Linvale, is she dangerously ill?
She was dangerously ill. They called us too late.
Miss Emily died 2 hours ago.
Come back, man. We'll give you a ride to the inn.
Why, he's bounding off up the hill. What's the matter with him?
Do you know who that is? That's Falkland. I saw him once before.
Look, he's climbing to the summit.
Here, we better go and fetch him and take him home.
No, it's none of our affair.
Look, how he reaches his arms to the sky.
Well, man, what of it? We'd better be going.
But look, good heavens! Did you see that? The lightning struck him dead.
Falkland, you who have loved beyond the eternal strength of death, rise from the lightning's arrow of fire. Rise in the thunderous power of your love. Rise and meet her in this infinity of time. Wise man, the wisdom of eternal love is yours.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you the story, Falkland. Bellkeeper, toll the bell.
Friends, we hope you enjoyed this presentation at the Ogden's Playhouse. May we suggest that your smoking enjoyment will be enhanced if you'll try Ogden's Fine Cut, the tobacco that rolls easily and smoothly into a satisfying cigarette smoke every time. You'll find Ogden's a quality cigarette tobacco on every count. Try Ogden's. It's easy to roll, delightful to smoke. Yes, easy to roll, delightful to smoke. Next week at this time, another Weird Circle story, The Trial for Murder by Charles Dickens. Join us, won't you?
Here's a good tip to pipe smokers. For real pipe smoking satisfaction, try Ogden's Cut Plug. It's a smooth, rich pipe tobacco.
Our next broadcast was one of the premier drama programs of the golden age of radio and was subtitled Radio's Outstanding Theater of Thrills and focused on suspense thriller-type scripts, usually featuring leading Hollywood actors of the era. Approximately 945 episodes were broadcast during its long run, and more than 900 still exist. The protagonist was usually a normal person suddenly dropped into a threatening or bizarre situation. Solutions were withheld until the last possible second, and evildoers were usually punished by the end. We present to you Suspense on HOJO Radio.
This is the Man in Black, here again to introduce Columbia's program, Suspense. Our distinguished star this evening is that delightful gentleman, Mr. Roland Young, playing as author of detective novels, who invented his best plot when his life was at stake. With Mr. Young to play his long-suffering secretary is Miss Peggy Conklin. A story by John Dixon Carr in a somewhat lighter mood than is our habit, and called The Customers Like Murder, is tonight's tale of suspense. If you've been with us on these Tuesday nights, you will know that suspense is compounded of mystery and suspicion and dangerous adventure. In this series are tales calculated to intrigue you, to stir your nerves, to offer you a precarious situation, and then withhold the solution until the last possible moment. And so with The Customers Like Murder and the performance of Roland Young, we again hope to keep you in suspense. On a hot summer night in a village on the east coast of England, a famous writer of detective stories is dictating to his secretary. You have all heard of Mr. Gerald Hawkstone, celebrated author of Murder on the Woolsack, Aconite at the Admiralty, Who Shot the Prime Minister, and other thrillers which have held us past the midnight hour. You have followed the exploits of Pendleton King, diplomat detective. Gerald Hawkstone lives quietly at Deal with his friend Dr. Roberts nearby in case he should need medical knowledge. And his pretty, if somewhat pert Canadian secretary, Miss Patricia Phillips. Gerald Hawkstone would be a happy man, even in wartime, if it were not for... You got all that, Miss Phillips?
Yes, Mr. Hawkstone.
Good. New paragraph.
Yes, Mr. Hawkstone.
At the head of the great banqueting table, comma, the Lord Chief Justice staggered to his feet, full stop. His face was a ghastly whitish color, and his eyes had become glassy.
Is he drunk, Mr. Hawkstone?
No, Miss Phillips, the Lord Chief Justice is not drunk.
Sounds pretty cockeyed to me.
For your information, Miss Phillips, the Lord Chief Justice has just been poisoned with curare because he discovered the identity of the master criminal. Is that clear?
Yes, Mr. Hawkstone. But I wish you wouldn't do it.
Do what?
Well, in the last 4 books, Mr. Hawkstone, you have shot the Prime Minister, killed the Lord Chancellor with an axe, poisoned the Home Secretary, and blown up the First Lord of the Admiralty. Why don't you stop picking on the poor government and murder somebody else for a change?
The Lord Chancellor, Miss Phillips, was not murdered with an axe.
No, Mr. Hawkstone?
Definitely no. He was beamed with the Great Seal and found dead on the Woolsack. And there's another thing, Miss Phillips. Whether you talk like this because of a dense vacuum in what we will charitably call your mind...
Really, Mr. Hawkstone?
Or whether you are really making out what you might define as hot cracks, I don't know. But I don't want any more of it, do you hear?
Just as you please, Mr. Hawkstone.
Oh, Lord, where was I?
His face was a ghastly whitish color, and his eyes had become glassy.
Sounds like me. All right. A single choking cry escaped his lips, comma, and his body crumpled to the floor. Full stop. New paragraph. With one swift stride, Pendleton King had reached the fallen man.
He can't have done that, Mr. Hawkstone.
Who can't have done what?
Pendleton King.
What about him?
Well, on the last page, you had him sitting at the foot of the table. So he can't get there in one stride. Unless you want him to sail across the room like a kangaroo.
There are times, Miss Phillips, when I should like to poison you with curare and dance on your grave.
I was only trying to help.
All right, change it, strike it out. With hardly a second's delay, how's that? Comma. Pendleton King had reached the fallen man. Full stop. New paragraph. Quote. I feared it, comma. Close quote. He muttered. Full stop. Quote. Note the rigidity of the muscles. Exclamation point. Note the characteristic odor of curare, which...
That won't do, Mr. Hawkstone.
Why not?
Curare hasn't got any odor.
Now there, Miss Phillips, you've really gone too far.
But I can't help that. It's true.
If you will permit the small vanity, I am noted for the correctness of my medical knowledge. Who is murdering the Lord Chief Justice, you or I?
You are. But you might murder him properly. Curare hasn't got any odor.
I say it has.
And I say it hasn't.
Listen, Miss Phillips. I propose to settle this rather childish dispute by going next door and asking Dr. Roberts. Will that convince you?
Curare hasn't got any odor. Anyway, the Lord Chief Justice wouldn't be mixed up in any such silliness as this.
Silliness, eh?
Yes, I said silliness. Read your evening paper. The Lord Chief Justice is sentencing some American gangster who got involved in a robbery over here. That's the sort of thing he really does.
You're very fond of these gangster reports, aren't you?
Yes, I am, because they're real.
Real? Ha!
Don't you say fa to me.
Merely remarking, Miss Phillips, that with your usual ingenuity, you sidetracked the argument. I am going to see Dr. Roberts. That's not necessary, of course. My own knowledge of poisons is as great as that of any doctor.
Dr. Fa.
And finally, kindly don't say fa to me, either. When I return, Miss Phillips, I hope to find you in a better frame of mind. Please observe that I, at least, have been able to keep my temper. Excuse me.
All right. Go on. See if I care.
Oh, excuse me, but...
Good evening, Mr. Hawkstone.
Good evening, Mrs. Roberts. May I come in?
Of course. Mind the blackout curtain. My, isn't it hot and stuffy tonight?
Rather close, yes. Is the doctor in?
I'm afraid he isn't, Mr. Hawkstone, but I expect him back any minute.
Oh, out on a call?
No, I'm almost certain he isn't, because that's his medicine case and stethoscope there on the table. I think he's just gone up the road to get some tobacco.
Do you mind if I wait?
Not at all. But you will excuse me if I run along. I promised Mrs. Anderson I'd drop in there. It's her neuralgia again, and I'm terribly late already.
Don't let me detain you, Mrs. Roberts. Go right ahead.
I'm afraid you'll have to wait in George's consulting room. I've got most of the house dark, so I could keep the windows open. You know which room it is?
Yes, I could find it blindfolded.
Oh, and I wonder if you take the medicine case and stethoscope and drop them in the consulting room. George is so careless. He lets them lie about anywhere.
Medicine case? Stethoscope, yes. As a matter of fact, I've always wanted to hang one of these things on my neck like this. Look almost like a doctor, don't I? Good night, Mrs. Roberts.
Good night, Mr. Hawkstone. See you later.
So what I write is silliness, eh? And I don't know anything about poisons. And I call her Miss Phillips instead of Patricia. Here we are. Now, where's that light switch? Good Lord.
Come on in, Doc. Close the door.
Who the deuce are you?
You want to keep healthy, Doc? Just do what you're told. Come in and close the door.
Is that by any chance a revolver you're pointing at me?
Ain't no cigarette case. I'm warning you.
Oh, I'm hanged. I've done it 1,000 times in stories, but I never thought...
Don't drop that junk you're carrying either. You're going to need it, Doc, when you come along with me.
Come along with you? Where?
Just to see a guy, that's all.
To see a... Oh, wait a minute. You don't think I'm the doctor?
Now, look, Doc. I ain't got any time for gags, see? The boss says to bring you, so I bring you. There'll be a very sick man out there if you don't go.
Yes, there'll be a very dead man out there if I do go. I tell you, old man, you're making a terrible mistake.
Now, look, Doc.
My name is Hawkstone. I live next door. I'm not a medical man, and
Wait a
I
minute.
never...
Somebody's coming.
Philip.
Now then, Dr. Hawkstone, just look here in the encyclopedia.
So you ain't the doctor, huh?
That's done it.
Just a real old-fashioned kidder, ain't you? Now, you keep quiet, lady. You know it's good for you.
I know you. I've seen your picture. You're Big Louie Miller.
Pretty smart dame
I'm
you
sure
got
that's
here,
him.
Doc.
Listen, Mr. Hawkstone.
Take it easy, Miss Lewis.
Big Louie Miller and Slats Kelly. Slats Kelly is the gang leader. Well, we're supposed to be friends of this gangster who's on trial in London now. But I hadn't heard they were in England.
No, lady. Neither is anybody else.
Now we're for it.
Who is this dame, Doc? Your night?
No, she's my secretary. She doesn't know anything about this.
She seems to know too much about it, if you ask me. Come on, lady. You're going with it.
Going? Where?
Just for a little ride, lady. Just for a little ride.
Far out from the village, in flat and miry swampland, where pools of stagnant water gleam under the moon, stands the old Rutherford house. It is a desolate place, on the track of Field Marshal Goering's bombers when they crossed the coastline. But there are no searchlights here, and no guns. Only the heat on the glimmering marshes and the decaying, weather-boarded house as a motor car approaches.
Drive straight ahead, Doc. Right around to the back of the house. Remember, I still got this rod against the back of your neck.
As a matter of fact, Louis, I'm rather enjoying this. All except the murder.
What murder? We ain't gonna bump anybody off.
Maybe not you, old boy, but I am. Just wait till I get at your patient.
I don't see how you can joke about this.
I'm not joking, Miss Phillips. If Louis won't tell us what's wrong with the patient...
Never you mind the patient, Doc. You just drive around here. Here, whoa.
So...
Right here.
Oh. So this is the enchanted castle, eh?
Climb out of here. Walk ahead of me over to that house.
Come on, Miss Phillips.
That's right, lady. You too. Come on. Hey, hold on, Doc. Grab a can of this cleaning fluid here. You can help me carry it in.
Cleaning fluid?
Yeah, there's 2 cans of it. If I can carry one, then I need my other hand for this ride. Come on. We ain't got all night. Get it out of the back seat.
Professionally, this is a little out of my line of duty. What do you want with the cleaning fluid?
The boss's suits get all messed up, so I clean them for him. I play nursemaid and everything around here. Come on now. Straight ahead. Stop asking questions.
You got this place blacked out, Louis. If the police don't get you, the air raid warden will.
Forget it, Doc. We got this place so sealed up, you can hardly breathe inside.
In here?
That's right, lady. Go ahead. I'll close the door.
I can't see, old boy. Which way?
Here. Set that can down and follow me. You too, lady. Right here, with the curtains hanging over the door. Now, I want you to meet the boss. So I open the curtain like this.
Howdy, Doc. Come right in. Glad to see you. I've been expecting you.
Glad to see you, old man. I imagine you're the celebrated Mr. Kelly.
That's me, Doc. Flats Kelly to you. Glad to see you taking this nice and friendly. Louis, what's the idea of bringing in the dame?
I couldn't help it, boy.
How?
She's as nice, see? She was with him, and she knew who I was.
She did, eh?
I don't know anything. All I want to do is to go home.
That's all right, sister. You'll go home all nice and friendly. As soon as I've had a little talk with the doctor.
A talk about what?
Well, we're not what you might call comfortable here, Doc. Well, we've got flashlights, canned food, plenty of liquor, portable radio that works on a battery. So we managed to get along. You know what I mean?
I said a talk about what?
Well, that's it. That's what I'm going to tell you. We pulled a snatch, see?
You pulled a snatch?
You mean he means they kidnapped somebody.
That's right, sister. You speak English.
May I ask who was snatched?
Well, I'll tell you, Doc, because it'll have you a big laugh. The guy we snatched was the big shot you call the Lord Chief Justice.
You snatched the Lord Chief Justice?
We sure did, Doc, and his clerk, too. They're in the room right over there.
Shut your trap, Louis.
I didn't mean nothing, Butch. I was only trying...
Did you hear me say shut your trap?
Okay.
But, look here, what was the idea behind this snatch?
Well, I'll tell you, Doc. We got a pal, see?
Well?
Dominic Forelli, his name is. He's Up on a grand larceny rap, and Pirelli don't like grimy jails. He don't like 'em at all. Besides, the dirty little rat owes me 14 G's. So what do?
That's the Lord Chief Justice, apparently, but why?
Because the mouthpiece back home tells me long ago that a man can't be sentenced except for the judge that tried him.
And the Lord Chief Justice is the judge who tried Dominic Pirelli, is that it?
That's right, Doc. But it ain't the main thing. This Chief Justice is a pretty important guy, see? So, what do? We write to the cops and say, now look, we got the old bird in a place where you'll never find him, and if you want to keep things nice and friendly, just spring Dominic Pirelli.
Spring him?
Turn him loose.
Sure. Spring Pirelli, and you'll get the old judge back in one piece. If you don't do it, you'll get him back with his head as full of holes as a Swiss cheese. And we're not kidding.
This is horrible. I can't stand it.
Take it easy, sister. Take it easy.
You know, Slats, I admire you tremendously.
You do, Doc. Why?
Because you've invented a crazier idea than I ever did.
Just what do you mean by that crack, Doc?
You don't honestly think the government will make a bargain with you?
I sort of think they will, Doc. I sort of think they will.
But what if they don't?
It'll be just too bad for a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Well, wouldn't I like to give that judge a going over?
Louis got a sort of a grudge against the old guy, Doc.
Well, wouldn't you have?
Louis' temperamental, see? He gets bored easy. So he says to the old guy and his clerk, he says, can you play poker? Just says, sure. So they play poker from 6 in the evening to 5 in the morning. And what do you know? If the old judge don't win all Louis' dough.
They rung in a cold deck on me. That's how they done it. They're a couple of crooks.
Are you accusing the Lord Chief Justice of playing poker with marked cards?
He won my dough, didn't he?
Shut up, Louis.
Okay, boy.
Not that I blame Louis much. The things I've had to take from that judge. Well, that's where you come in, Doc.
I was just wondering about that. Which of one of them is...
Hurt? There's nobody hurt. Not yet.
Then what the devil do you want with me?
I want them kept quiet so they don't keep trying to escape. We can't get tough with them, not until I get Pirelli and my 14 G's. And I want you to give them a hypodermic or something that'll keep them out cold for 2 days. Can you do that?
Why, yes, I don't know. I suppose I could.
No, for heaven's sake, be careful.
Now, what do you use to dope them?
Well, under the circumstances and considering all the factors involved, I think I should use morphine.
Have you got any morphine in that black satchel?
Oh, yes. Plenty of morphine. I always go about equipped for these little emergencies.
Well, then open the satchel. Come on, open it.
Well, there you are.
Dozens of little bottles, anyway. Now then, Doc, which one of them bottles is the one that has the morphine in it?
The fact is, Slats...
Come on. Which one is it?
Listen, boss.
Louis, how many times do I have to tell you to shut up?
Yeah, but it's the midnight news. The news on the radio. You said you wanted to hear it. It's after midnight now.
Why didn't you tell me?
It's all right, boss. I switched the radio on.
Well, then keep quiet, all of you. A couple of seconds now, you're going to hear some mighty sweet news.
I wonder.
So do I.
Quiet.
The Lord Chief Justice.
Hey, that's us, ain't it?
The kidnappers, stated Superintendent Hadley of the CID, seem to entertain a belief that no sentence can be passed on a criminal except by the judge who tried him. Whatever may be the law in certain American states, this is not the case here. Dominic Pirelli, alias Dominic Stevens, was today sentenced by Mr. Justice Stoneman to 14 years hard labor and this evening entered Dartmoor prison.
Why, that
One moment, please.
double-crossing lawyer told me...
Take it easy, boy. Take it easy.
Kelly, he's as white as a ghost, and his mouth is twisting back as though...
Here is a bulletin just received. Scotland Yard flying squad cars, assisted by the constabulary of a county which for obvious reasons cannot be named, are closing in on the 2 kidnappers believed to be men already wanted in the United States for murder.
That's us,
Should anyone who has any further information about these men, whose descriptions follow, communicate with New Scotland Yard, telephone number Whitehall 121...
Just wait till I get my hands on it.
That's all right, boss. Everything's all right now. I turned it off.
Can't do more than turn it off, Louis. I'll fix that thing.
Hey, what are you going to do, boss? Hey, don't bust the radio. There. Oh, you hadn't on the bust of the radio, boss. Now we can't get any news.
We've had our news lately. Come on, put that light out. I want to look out the window. Oh, they're closing in.
Tricia, you see, I can't call you that.
Why couldn't you have called me that weeks ago?
Oh, well, putting that aside, I started it as half a joke. But I'm not joking now. I intend to get that rat-faced Slats if it's the last thing I ever do.
It probably will be. But how are you going to?
First, Pendleton King, my dear. He's got out of worse scrapes than this.
14,000 bucks gone. And the cops on our tail while we stand here yapping. You heard what that radio said, Louis.
Yeah, I heard it, all right. Look, boss, we better lamb out of here while it's
Sure we
time.
will, Louis. Before we go, we settle things with the old guy in the other room.
You can't get away with it, Louis. This is England. They'll hang you.
So what?
We got a murder rapper facing the States, ain't we? And I just as soon hang as fry. What about you, Louis?
You said it, boss. Let me take this rod of mine, stick it against the back of the old guy's neck, and...
No rods. That's too easy. Easy? Sure. One slug and it's all over. This guy rates special treatment. And that's where the doctor comes in. You know anything about poisons, Doc?
I know a good deal about poisons. The customers like murder.
What's that?
Oh, nothing. Just a slogan in my profession.
Look, Louis, do you remember the time Johnny Presco was running the old 3rd Avenue Social Club?
Yeah.
And Mike Delaney talks out of turn? And they feed him some white stuff called, strychnine?
Oh, yeah.
And sit around and light cigarettes and watch him die. It took 4 hours, Doc, and you could hear the rats screaming as far as 81st Street.
Now, wait a minute, Slats. You can't...
I can't, huh? We'll see. You got any of that white stuff, Doc?
Well,
Come on,
I
you've
might.
got
I
something
don't know.
in that bag that'll make the old guy squeal now, haven't you?
Why, yes, I suppose I have, but...
Listen, get this sure. You can do it the hard way, Doc, or you can do it the easy way. Louis gets to work on you. Maybe you'd be smarter to hand the stuff over right now. What do you say?
Listen,
boy.
What's the matter, Slats? Troubled by the heat? It is hot in here with all the windows sealed up.
That sounds like planes.
It is planes.
British planes going over to put the heat on Germany?
No such luck, old boy. German planes coming to bomb us. About
a dozen Heinkels, flying 20,000 feet up.
Mm-hmm. Very keen ear, Miss Phillips. I'd say not over 15. That's the first wave, Slats. There'll be another wave in a minute or two. But you needn't be alarmed. They're going somewhere else. They only...
Duck, Louis, duck! The way I heard you force them under the table already.
Only a little visiting card, Slats, and fully a quarter of a mile away.
Put out that light,
Why
Louis, and
bother?
pull that curtain back off the window.
Yeah, but what's it?
See what you can see.
Okay.
Do as I tell you,
all
Big Luck.
All right. Hey, you can't see a thing. The sky's as black as pitch. Oh, look over there.
Well, what is it?
It's a light, boy. Funny kind of a white light. Up there over the trees. It's not very steady. It starts and then dims, and then it starts and dims.
Only a basket of incendiary bombs, Louis.
Incendiaries, eh?
What is it, Jerry? You got an idea?
Louis, this is just what we've been waiting for. Those Scotland Yard cars are going to get held up until we can settle things with those guys in the other room. Come along with me.
Why don't you two lugs get smart?
Jerry.
What's that?
You don't want to have your neck cracked on a rope, do you? Or burn in the electric chair back home?
What are you getting at?
Why not take advice from somebody who's been killing people in a professional way for 15 years?
I'm not in the mood for gags, Doc, but keep on talking.
This Lord Chief Justice and his clerk, what do they look like?
Well, the judge is a little guy with a bald head like me. And the other one is a big guy with a punch-drunk pan like Louis. Why?
I thought so. I've seen their photographs. When the next wave of planes comes over, and it will, why shouldn't an incendiary bomb hit this house?
You mean you think it ain't too safe here?
Be quiet, Louis. Go ahead, Doc.
In other words, you leave the Lord Chief Justice and his clerk tied up in the other room. Then all you have to do is to set fire to the place. Justice cheated, Medlington gangsters die and blaze.
Jerry Hawkstone, have you gone crazy?
They may catch you eventually, yes. But it'll give you a few days' start.
Hey, maybe you got something there, Doc.
And it's got to look good. This house must go up like a piece of paper in a furnace, past any possibility of being put out.
Yeah, and that's the catch.
Why so?
This house is in the middle of a swamp, see? It's as damp as your own climate. You couldn't make it burn with a blowtorch.
Oh, yes, you could. Aren't you forgetting the cleaning fluid?
Cleaning fluid?
In that other room, you've got 2 gallons of cleaning fluid. That's benzene, a derivative of petrol. Soak every inch of the floor of that room with it, every inch of it, mind, and the place will go up like tinder.
Well, it's worth a try, Louis. Turn on your flashlight.
Okay, boss.
And, what about you two, Doc? Afterwards?
We're accessories, aren't we? Are we likely to talk?
Better put a couple of slugs in them, boss, and drop them on the road. What's 1 or 2 more bumps in this bottle like this?
Maybe you're right at that. Well, anyway, Doc, thanks for a swell idea. You heard what the doc said, Louis. Get going with that cleaning stuff.
Both of you had better do it. I'm warning you.
Oh, why?
Hear that? Because there isn't much time. Here they come. You can't have a fire start after the last wave of planes has gone over.
Well, maybe you got something there, too. But I'll just take a little precaution first.
What are you going to do?
These are handcuffs, sister. 2 of the neatest pair of cuffs we ever swiped off a dumb cop. Oh, well, just lock your arms around the back of the chair, like this. And the doc's arms around the back of his chair, like this. And we'll get going. Come on, Louis, through the curtain.
Okay, I'm coming, boss. Bye-bye, Mr. Hawkstone.
And your lady friend? Be seeing you in the funny papers. Or in the morgue.
It won't be long now. They must have everything in there soaked with that benzene by now. Jerry, I know you can't be completely crazy.
Many thanks, my dear, for the qualification. You're right. They have soaked the place with benzene. And if they strike a match before...
I know you've got some kind of a scheme, but do you think it'll work?
I don't know, my dear. I thought of it once for a story.
Oh, you and your story.
Me and my stories, as Louis will put it, may save our hides yet.
But suppose it doesn't work.
Then we're done for.
What are you trying to do?
There's a place to miss, boss.
Yeah, I got
Listen, Fisher. It's not working. But it's got to work.
What's got to work?
5 minutes. Must be at least that. They've been pouring out that benzene an inch at a time all over the...
What's that? What's the matter?
Listen.
What's that? What's the matter, you big lad? Can you stand up? Nothing got me. What's that?
It's working, Patricia. I think our friends are licked.
No, they're not. Slaps is coming back.
What the heck are you? Trying to pull, Doc? What's the matter with Louis? What's the matter with me?
You've lost the game, Slats. You're finished.
Oh, I'm finished, am I?
It's the benzene fumes, old man. To pour out a lot of cleaning fluid in an airtight room like that one is practically certain death. You know, Slats, you ought to learn more about crime. No, you won't, Slats. You can't reach your gun. The fumes have got you. You can't move your arms or legs. Your eyesight's going. In 1 second more, you'll be... Got him. Dead to the world.
You mean,
It works, Patricia. It's practical. It works.
are you trying to tell me that you killed those two men?
Not necessary. Listen,
That sounds like cars.
probably police cars. We're just about to be sensationally rescued, just like fiction.
Jerry.
You two. Come on out of there.
Come on in and get us, you lug.
Don't talk like Louis or we'll get a bullet through the head yet.
Yes, that is a thought.
We're prisoners. We're victims. This way, please. Mr. Sergeant, and I was never so glad to see a uniform in my life.
Here now. What's going on in this place? Louis Miller knocked out in that room? And blimey, if it's not Slats Kelly knocked out in this room.
Just a couple of mugs I polished off, Sergeant, all in the day's work.
You mean they're dead?
They'll be all right if you drag them out in the open air.
Oh, I recognize you. You're the writer who was kidnapped tonight.
Yes, and you will find the other snatches in that room. But first of all, have you got a key that'll unlock regulation police handcuffs?
I certainly have, sir, and I'll get you loose in a jiffy.
Never mind me, Sergeant. Never mind my handcuffs. Get this lady free. She's the one I'm concerned about.
You know, that's awfully kind of you. It's something practically chivalrous.
Chivalry, my eye.
There you are, young lady.
Have you got your notebook and pencil in that handbag?
You don't want me to take dictation now?
The true artist, madam, takes no account of time or place. Are you ready?
Yes, Mr. Hawkstone.
Well, you admit now that my plot is practical.
Yes, Mr. Hawkstone.
Now then, The Income Tax Murder by Gerald Hawkstone, Chapter 1.
But Mr. Hawkstone,
Just as Big Ben was striking midnight, a hooded face looked into the window of the luxurious study occupied by the Chancellor of the Exchequer. Full stop. The hooded figure chuckled as it softly lowered inside the window a large tin of cleaning fluid. New paragraph. The Chancellor himself was hard at work devising a new scale of income tax.
but Mr. Hawkstone, that's a completely different story. I thought you were going to murder the Lord Chief Justice.
Haven't you any professional taste? How can I murder the Lord Chief Justice when I just saved his life?
And so ends The Customers Like Murder, starring Roland Young with Peggy Conklin. Tonight's tale of suspense. This is your narrator, the man in black, who conveys to you Columbia's invitation to spend this half hour in suspense with us again next Tuesday, same time, when our story will be The Dead Sleep Lightly. William Spear, the producer, John Dietz, the director, Bernard Herrmann, the composer-conductor, and John Dixon Carr, the author, elaborated on tonight's Suspense.
You're listening to HOJO Radio. More classic old-time radio coming your way next.
Suspense. This is the Man in Black, here again to introduce Columbia's program, Suspense. Our stars this evening are three. The order of their appearance, they are Walter Hampton, one of the theater's proudest names for 2 generations, and Susan Hayward and Lee Bowman, 2 of Hollywood's brightest younger stars. The story called The Dead Sleep Lightly by John Dixon Carr is tonight's tale of suspense. If you've been with us on these Tuesday nights, you will know that suspense is compounded of mystery and suspicion and dangerous adventure. In this series are tales calculated to intrigue you, to stir your nerves, to offer you a precarious situation, and then withhold the solution until the last possible moment. And so with The Dead Sleep Lightly, and with the performances of Walter Hampden, Susan Hayward, and Lee Bowman, we again hope to keep you in suspense.
Ashes to ashes, and dust to dust.
Meadowvale Cemetery, not far from New York. Meadowvale Cemetery, on a dim gray morning in early April, when rain forms a mist across leafless trees and white gravestones. You see, over there, the group of silk-hatted gentlemen, each with his protecting umbrella, gathered around an open grave. You see the clay soil freshly dug. You can hear perhaps the creaking of support as the coffin is lowered into its everlasting house, and the droning voice of the clergyman.
I am the resurrection and the life, saith the Lord. He that believeth on me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. Live?
Quiet, Mr. Templeton, please.
What's wrong with old Templeton?
Please, sir, remember where you are.
She's not alive, I tell you. She's not alive.
It might seem a long distance, that, from the Cosmopolites Club in Gramercy Park on the following evening, when that same well-fed man, as hard and unemotional as the diamond pin in his tie, hurries up the steps into the club and...
What? Yes, Mr. Templeton? Tell me, Mr. Wilmot in the club, do you know?
Yes, sir. Don't you see him?
See him? Where?
In the lounge over there, sir. Sitting by the fire.
Yes, of course. I'm a little upset. You're a good fellow, Henry. I won't forget you.
Thank you, sir. Excuse me, sir, but aren't you going to take off your hat and overcoat?
Never mind my hat and coat. Just tell me one other thing. When I came into the club, was there anybody following me?
Following you, Mr. Templeton?
Yes, a woman. A woman with a long skirt and a heavy black veil.
There aren't many women who wear that kind of dress nowadays, sir.
Look out into the street. Do you see anybody?
No, sir. There's just,
What's that?
Oh, that's only the old street musician, sir. He doesn't mean any harm.
I won't have that tune played, you hear? I'm used to getting my orders obeyed, and I'm going to have this one obeyed. Here's some money. Go out and tell him to go away.
Yes, sir, if you insist, but,
Do as you're told and don't ask questions. If anybody wants me, I shall be with Mr. Wilmot.
Very good, sir.
Good evening, Wilmot. Mind if I sit down for a minute?
Oh, not at all. Pull up a chair. Have some coffee?
No, thanks. I'll get down to brass tacks right away.
Yes, you always do. I've noticed that.
Well, I'm a pretty self-sufficient kind of a fellow, Wilmot. I made a name for myself, even if I do say it myself. But, well, the fact is, I need advice.
A successful publisher asking advice from one of his own authors. That's something new, isn't it?
Now, look here, Wilmot, I'm serious.
All right, I take it back.
What's on your mind? Well, you've studied what we'll call the supernatural, haven't you? I've lectured and written books about it, yes. And did you ever meet a ghost? No, I can't say I ever did. Have you? It might only be my own imagination. Yes, that's what scares me. You get on in years, and your arteries harden, and you don't take enough exercise, and you think something ought to be done about your waistline, but you never bother. You see, Wilmot, I went to a funeral yesterday. You did? Whose funeral was it? The person who died has nothing to do with this. It was old Simpson of Harley and Sons. We thought it was only decent to make up a party and go to the funeral. And I took my secretary along, a girl named Molly Carroll. I'm leaving for Washington tomorrow. Besides, I'm moving house. So there was a lot of work to do. What I couldn't stand was that infernal cemetery in the rain. We must have gone in by the wrong gate, because we were in a neglected, desolate part of the cemetery where the rank grass grew over the graves. You'll oblige me, Miss Carroll, if you first find out the proper directions of our places. We've come in the wrong gate to the cemetery.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Templeton. I thought
What you thought doesn't matter now. This is the wrong part of the cemetery. My shoes are absolutely ruined with wet clay.
Well, it isn't doing my own shoes and stockings any good either, Mr. Templeton.
If there's been any damage to them, Miss Carroll, I'll replace them. You never found me ungenerous, now have you?
Well, not exactly ungenerous, no.
I'll pay you the compliment, Miss Carroll, saying that you're the best secretary I ever had.
Thank you.
Yet you want to leave me.
Yes, I want to get married.
That's what Mr. Barnes is telling me. And who is this paragon of yours? What does he do? Does he make any money?
Well, Frank's a radio technician. He's not very wealthy, I'll admit.
Wealthy? A radio technician? I'll bet he doesn't make as much as I pay you. Yet you want to get married.
Well, is there anything very strange about that?
Yes, if it interferes with your career, if it... Good Lord. Look at that.
Look at what, Mr. Templeton?
Over there, where I'm pointing.
You mean that? It's only an old gravestone covered with weeds and brambles.
I haven't seen that grave in years.
It looks rather neglected.
It is neglected, isn't it? Will you go closer, please, and read the inscription?
Mr. Templeton,
Do as I tell you, please.
it says... Let's see if I can get some of these weeds aside. It says... Sacred to the memory of Mary Ellen Cleaver, born September 5th, 1892. Departed this life March 25th, 1919. Thou shouldst still be adored as this moment thou art. Let thy loveliness fade as it will. If you lower that umbrella, Mr. Templeton, you'll get soaking wet.
Sentimental trash. But she always liked it.
She always liked it?
Mary Ellen Cleaver.
Did you know her?
Very well indeed. She was my wife.
Your wife? But I never knew you were married.
Neither does anybody else. Where's my flask of brandy? What have I done with it?
It's in your hip pocket, Mr. Templeton, but do you think that's very wise? You've already had more than enough.
Whatever I do is wise, Miss Carroll. Well, we were married very young. She was a nice little thing. I was fond of her, yes. But she couldn't have helped me. I'm not a snob, but she wasn't in my class. No style, you know, no manners, no education.
Indeed.
Could I have introduced her to the friends I was making? No. Wouldn't have been kind to her. She didn't even want to go to the places where I was invited. She'd sit at home and say, what was it like? Did you have a nice time? What was Mrs. So-and-so wearing? And she loved me. I'll put that to her credit. But...
You left her?
I thought it was the kindest thing to do, yes. She went away. Then I heard she'd had...
Had what?
Nothing. Doesn't matter. Well, there was a war on. I attended the peace conference in Europe. Never even knew she was dead until I heard some friends had buried her. I always promised to call her up. She said she'd come back to me if I did.
You couldn't call her up now, Mr. Templeton, even if you wanted to.
No, I suppose not. But I was fond of her. I wish there was something I could do.
Well, you could have her grave cared for. Have some flowers put on it.
That's it. That's an idea. She'd have liked that. Can you take care of that for me?
I'll look after it tomorrow morning, Mr. Templeton.
But how will they ever be able to locate the grave? Must be thousands in this cemetery.
Oh, each grave has a number, you know, cut into the stone so you can identify it. This is number 1212.
1212. Sounds like a telephone number, doesn't it?
Yes, doesn't it?
Meadowvale 1212. Poor girl. I was fond of her.
Please, Mr. Templeton, come along and please, no more brandy. You've got a funeral to attend.
And then, Wilmot, the night came. And the horror. What horror?
Take it easy, man. There's nothing to worry about. You were sitting here in the Cosmopolites Club.
Yes, but I wasn't sitting in the club last night. I was on my way home.
And why should that scare you?
I don't know, but it did. I'd been jumpy all day. That infernal number kept running through my head. Meadowvale 1212. Have you ever seen my house?
Yes, it's that big sham Gothic place on Riverside Drive, isn't it?
Yes, big and dark and drafty like a mausoleum. I told you it was moving house to an apartment downtown. But there were some papers there. I had to get out of the safe in the library to take with me to Washington tomorrow. I knew the servants would be gone, of course. But I hoped Mrs. Bloom, that's my housekeeper, would still be there. Then, when I went up the park, about 6:30...
Meadowvale 1212. Meadowvale 1212. Meadowvale 1212.
Meadowvale 1212.
Mr. Templeton, this is a surprise.
Sorry to trouble you, Mrs. Bloom. I seem to have mislaid my key. The other could have sworn I had it on the key ring this morning.
It's no trouble, Mr. Templeton. Only, I hope you're not planning to spend the night here.
No, I'm going to a hotel. Why do you ask?
Because they've disconnected everything except the electricity and taken away most of the furniture.
I haven't touched anything in the library.
No, sir. I told them you said to leave that. But it does seem a pity in a way.
What seems a pity?
To break up a lovely home like this after all these years.
Home? This big, ugly picture gallery?
It's been a home to me, sir.
Well, I've treated you generously, haven't I?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
I've got several hours' work to do, Mrs. Bloom. A whole safe full of papers to sort over. I'm going to the library and... What's that you're hiding behind your back?
I'm not hiding anything, sir.
All the same, what is it?
It's only a music box, sir. I found it in the attic when the moving men were here. If I hadn't known there were, well, no ladies in your life, I'd have said it belongs to one of them. I love to hear them, sir. May I?
Mrs. Bloom!
Yes, sir.
If you don't want me to smash that music box, turn it off.
Yes, sir, I'm sure I never...
I'm going to the library. If you can find any sandwiches and coffee, bring them.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. Same old library. Same old claw-footed desk. There's the Venetian mirror she bought for you. Look at yourself in the mirror, Templeton. Admit you can't face it. Admit you can't work here tonight. Admit you've got to have lights and music and... That's it. Go out for dinner. Telephone Wilmot. If they've left the phone... Oh, yes. Good. Here it is. Hello, hello.
Yes, sir. Number, please. Number, please.
I want, Meadowvale 1212.
Meadowvale 1212.
Wait, what the devil's name am I saying? Change that, I want...
Hello, my darling. I knew you'd call me when you needed me.
Who's that speaking? Who are you?
It's Mary Ellen, dear. Don't you recognize my voice?
You're not Mary Ellen. This is a trick. Mary Ellen is dead.
Yes, dear. But the dead sleep lightly, and they can be lonely, too. And now that you do need me...
I don't need you. I don't need anybody.
I'm coming back to join you, dear. It's not easy, but I'll be there by the time the clock strikes 7. I'll wear a veil, because I don't look very pretty.
I won't have this. I won't listen to you. I won't...
Goodbye, my dear. Remember, when the clock strikes 7...
Mrs. Bloom, Mrs. Bloom!
Mr. Templeton, what on earth is the matter?
Who's been playing tricks on me?
Tricks, sir. I don't understand.
Who spoke to me on this phone?
But, sir, nobody could have spoken to you on that phone.
Nobody could have. What are you talking about?
That phone's disconnected, sir.
Disconnected?
Yes, sir. The man came here this afternoon and took that little metal box off the wall and rolled all the wires up and put everything on the desk there. Said he'd be back tomorrow to take it away.
Mrs. Bloom, that's impossible.
Look for yourself, sir. You're standing in the middle of the room holding that phone, and the wires don't lead anywhere.
That's true.
So you couldn't very well have talked to anybody on the phone that wasn't connected? Now, could you?
I tell you, I got the operator. I heard it ring. I talked to someone else.
Oh? And what did that person say?
She said she'd be here to visit me when...
Mr. Templeton, what's the matter?
And so, Wilmot, that's what happened last night. The phone was disconnected. It was Mary Ellen's voice. There's no doubt about that. Am I out of my mind or what?
Before I say anything about that, my friend.
Well?
Let's hear the end of your story. What did happen when the clock struck 7?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I lost my head. Ran out of that house as though the devil were after me. Maybe he was.
And since then?
I spent the night at the hotel. Today, I've walked past that house 50 times, 100 times, trying to muster up enough nerve to go in. I couldn't do it, but I've got to go in there.
Why?
It's those papers I've got to take to Washington.
Send somebody else to get them.
I can't do that, Wilmot. It's confidential information for the government. I've thought of everything. I've even bought a revolver, see?
For the love of heaven, man, put that gun away. Do you want the other club members to think you have gone insane?
Then I thought of you. You know all the tricks of fake spiritualists. You've written about it and lectured about it.
Which reminds me, by the way, that I'm lecturing before the Acropolis Club in about 20 minutes.
You've got to break that engagement, Wilmot.
Why?
Because you're going with me to my house tonight, now.
Oh, that's impossible, old man. Now sit quietly and listen to me. I'll go with you willingly, tomorrow morning.
That's too late. I'm taking an early plane to Washington.
Well, then wait until I can get away from the lecture. Say, around midnight. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take a taxi and join you as soon as I can.
That won't do. I've got to know the answer now. You understand?
Aren't you being a little unreasonable about this?
Unreasonable or not, I usually get my own way, and I mean to have it now.
Well, then I'm afraid you'll have to go to the house alone. Besides...
You know, Wilmot, you worry me. You sit there puffing at that pipe and looking at me out of those queer eyes of yours like a young Satan. I've often wondered what you were really thinking about.
Since you flatter my intelligence so much, I was wondering whether you'd been quite frank with me.
Frank with you how?
About your late wife, Mary Ellen Kleber.
What about her?
Well, after she left you, something happened that, you don't like to talk about. Was there, by any chance, a child, a son, for instance, or...
Did you say a son?
Yes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, then let's agree not to understand each other, shall we?
Now, are you coming with me or aren't you?
I tell you, man, I'll get there as soon as I can.
All I can think about is the wet red clay in that cemetery, and the dismal grave in the rain, and what her face might look like if she raised the veil, and what am I going to see in that house? What am I going to see in that house?
So the clocks chime, the hours dwindle, the traffic roar of the city sinks to a low growl behind twinkling lights. It is midnight, when a taxi moves along a certain street towards a certain house out of a bygone age. Lightless, black against the stars, surrounded by iron railings and with a path bordered by fir trees leading to the front door. Look, too, with the face of Mr. Patrick Wilmot when that taxi draws near.
All right, driver. This is the place.
I'll be in wait for you, sir.
No, you needn't wait. Keep the change.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
So the front gate is open. And he did go in. And... I beg your pardon. I didn't mean to bump into you.
Mr. Wilmot.
You know who I am.
Oh, yes. I've seen you several times at our office. I'm Molly Carroll, Mr. Templeton's secretary.
What are you doing here?
Well, it's Mr. Templeton.
What about him?
Well, that's what I want to know. I was out with Frank, that's my fiancé, and when I got home, the girl I room with said that Mr. Templeton had been phoning all evening. She said he sounded drunk or something. He wanted somebody to go with him to this house.
Evidently, I wasn't the only person he applied to. Shall we go in?
Yes, but the whole house is dark. Suppose he isn't there.
He's there, all right. You don't know men like Bert Templeton.
But
I'll push the gate wider. Now, straight up the walk to the front door. I've got a flashlight.
What are we going to find?
Something rather unpleasant, I'd better warn you.
How do you know?
I have my ways of knowing, Miss Carroll.
Oh, look.
What is it?
That French window to the left of the front door.
Yes.
It's partly open.
Well, there's nothing in that, necessarily. Templeton said he'd lost his key. He might have had to open a window.
Oh, that's true, but...
So you see it, too, do you?
See what?
There's a footprint across the sill of that French window. A footprint made in wet clay.
It's like the clay of the cemetery.
So I should imagine. Will you go in first, or shall I?
Into that dark room, I will not.
Well, then stay here, please, until I get some lights on.
No, wait. I'll go. Let me take your arm.
All right, be careful now. Yes, I thought so. This room is the library. And there are more footprints of somebody or something walking in. They lead... Who's there? Who's there?
It's only me, sir. Mrs. Bloom, the housekeeper.
Then what's the idea of standing in a dark room in the middle of the night with what sounds like...
It's only a music box, sir. I left it behind along with some other things and came back to get them. I've got my own key. I thought I heard a noise in here.
But why aren't there any lights?
The electricity's cut off, sir. It was cut off today.
I see. If Templeton is here, or was here, he must have had some kind of light. If I turn this flashlight on the desk, maybe... Be quiet, Miss Carroll.
What is it, sir? I'm as blind as a bat without my glasses.
It's Mr. Templeton. He's lying on the floor beside the desk.
Oh, he isn't...
No, he isn't dead. His face is the color of putty. I think he's had some kind of stroke. We'd better not take any chances. Mrs. Bloom?
Yes, sir.
Get outside to the nearest telephone and call for an ambulance. Tell him it's an emergency case.
You're Mr. Wilmot, aren't you? But what's happened to him?
Ask a dead woman.
I beg your pardon.
Never mind. Hurry.
Of course I'll hurry, Mr. Wilmot.
What are we going to do?
Now, let's have a look around. Templeton seems to have been working at his papers by the light of a couple of candles, which somebody's blown out. We'll relight them. There's the desk. There's all the papers scattered round him.
Mr. Wilmot, please. What happened to him?
I'll tell you. As he sat there in the dim light of two candles, a ghostly figure appeared at that French window. It wore a long, old-fashioned skirt and a heavy black veil to hide the face. It walked toward Templeton, tracking graveyard clay. It stretched its arms to him like this.
Keep away from me, please.
Templeton couldn't stand it. He collapsed. And now, before the old housekeeper returns, would you care to hear how the whole trick was worked?
Trick? What trick?
Have you heard about the ghost voice that talked on a disconnected telephone?
Oh, yes. Yes, he said something about it this morning, but I thought he wasn't himself.
He wasn't, but he heard it. Remember Mrs. Bloom's story about the telephone man?
Yes.
They don't send a man round to yank the whole apparatus off the wall, put it on the desk, and say he'll be back for it next day. This man from the telephone company was an imposter.
The man from the telephone company was an imposter?
Exactly.
Oh, look, he's moving his hand. He's trying to open his eyes. Isn't there anything we can do for him?
No, there's nothing we can do till the doctor arrives. In the meantime, listen to me.
All right. What did this imposter do?
He took away the real phone and substituted a spirit telephone. You don't know what a spirit telephone is?
No, of course not.
It's an old device used by fake mediums. You see a telephone without wires standing on a desk, like that one. You pick up the receiver and talk to the dead. Of course, you never really talk into the phone at all.
But if you don't talk into the phone, then...
Fixed underneath the desk is a tiny microphone with hidden wires leading to another room in the same house. That microphone picks up every word you think you are saying to the phone. Is that clear?
I think so.
Now, the dummy telephone is really a low-power radio receiving set. Somebody in another room can talk back to you after hearing what you say on the wired microphone.
Then, Mr. Templeton...
If Templeton hadn't rung Meadowvale 1212, then rest assured that same number would have rung him.
Well, then the scheme couldn't fail either way.
But, you see, there's one thing in this matter I haven't got quite clear even yet.
And what's that?
Tell me, Miss Carroll, just why did you work this whole trick? Why did you try to scare your father to death?
My father?
Templeton is your father, isn't he?
That might be rather difficult to prove, Mr. Wilmot.
By George, I admire you.
Thanks very much. I'm flattered.
Expressionless as ever. Eyes as hard and cold and blue and handsome as... Well, make your own comparisons. But I knew you were guilty, of course, when I heard your fiancé was a radio technician.
You can leave Frank out of this.
Oh, you have scruples. Have I touched you?
Nothing can touch me. Not since my mother died.
Your fiancé installed the ghost mechanism and took it away today. He probably thought it was only a joke.
He did. I swear he did.
And the rest of it was plain enough. Who led Templeton to the wrong gate in the cemetery, past that woman's grave? You did. Who was the only one who could have stolen the key to this house off that key ring he took to the office? You were. You needed that key to come and go as you liked and impersonate the two voices on the phone.
Is there any need to go on with this? He killed her, you know.
You mean Templeton killed your mother?
Oh, not with a knife or a bullet or poison. All he did was break her heart. And that's no offense in law.
Steady now.
Well, I've done what I wanted to do. I've torn his whole rotten life to pieces. And there he is, gasping for breath on the floor. And I'm glad. Oh, God, forgive me. He is my father.
Does he know you're his daughter?
No, of course not. When I went to work for him as a secretary, he hadn't even seen me since I was a child. But I got near him. I worked for years to get near him. No, I wish I hadn't.
Now, look here, you've got to pull yourself together.
Why? Who cares?
That's the ambulance coming and maybe the police.
What do I care? Tell the police what you like.
My dear girl, you don't think I'll tell them anything. I'm merely an onlooker. An amateur Satan who doesn't believe in ghost voices.
Mary Ellen.
What's that?
Templeton, his eyes are open. He's trying to get up.
Mary Ellen.
It's as though he could see something that we can't
What's
see.
that he's got in his hand?
It's a revolver. He had one at the club.
He's putting it against his chest. I'll stop him.
Look out! Look out!
Oh, he did love her after all. And now he's tried to join her. Oh, don't let him die.
He's all right, Molly. You grabbed the gun just in time.
If he doesn't die, I'll make it up to him. I swear I'll make it up to him.
I tell you now, he's not going to die. But...
Mary Ellen.
What?
Mary Ellen.
But what? But what?
Mary Ellen.
I was just wondering. Is there a ghost in this room tonight?
And so closes The Dead Sleep Lightly, starring Walter Hampden, Susan Hayward, and Lee Bowman. Tonight's tale of suspense. This is your narrator, the man in black, who conveys to you Columbia's invitation to spend this half hour in suspense with us again next Tuesday. Miss Hayward appeared through the courtesy of Paramount Pictures, and Mr. Bowman appeared through the courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios. William Spear, the producer, John Dietz, the director, Bernard Herrmann, the composer-conductor, and John Dixon Carr, the author, collaborated on tonight's Suspense.
This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Our next broadcast brings together everything that was good about old-time radio rolled into one. The title itself almost sums up the very essence of what radio drama is all about. Each of the episodes was a microdrama, carefully planned to capture the listener's attention. Over 200 episodes were made, and almost all of them are as good today as they were over half a century ago. For the first few years the series was on air, the announcement at the start of the show varied almost every week, but by the 1950s, it had settled down to be the now famous, tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape on HOJO Radio.
Escape. Escape tonight to Paris of 500 years ago. The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations present Escape, a new series of programs of which this, the fifth, is The Sire de Mautois Door by Robert Louis Stevenson, produced and directed by William N. Robeson. The pen of Robert Louis Stevenson has been an avenue of escape for 3 generations. Our grandparents thrilled to the macabre metamorphosis of Dr. Jekyll, just as we will never forget the nursery menace called Long John Silver. Tonight we escape with Robert Louis Stevenson down another avenue, which leads to Paris in 1429, and the amazing adventure of The Sire de Mautois' Door. Dark of the Moon, 1429, Paris. The House of Burgundy holds the throne of France, and English men-at-arms patrol the narrow streets. Troublous times for any man to be lost, on foot, at night. You there! Over here by the wall.
What's this? Now the shadows themselves are speaking.
I'm no shadow.
A real live human being.
I've managed to get myself lost in these confounded alleys. Can you tell me where I am?
Well, now, fine young cavalier, no less. And he's lost.
I'm trying to find the Beaucent Inn. Will this street lead me there?
Now, lad, one street is as good as another, and none of them will ever lead a man anywhere.
Oh, come now. You must know something about this part of Paris. Think, man, a patrol may pass at any moment.
You're wanted, then.
I've a safe conduct pass from the captain of the garrison.
Safe conduct, he says. And a fine lot of good that'll do you here in the dark of the night.
Well, you're certainly not helping my chances any.
No, lad. The only safe conduct you have is that sword is swinging at your side.
Wait, quiet. A patrol. They're coming this way.
I'm inclined to think you're right.
I've got to run for it. Tell them nothing.
When I should tell what to whom.
Wait, halt! Someone's there. Speak up. Who are you?
Speak up, is it? And you a blundering pack of two-day grenadiers that walk like a herd of cattle such as me? Speak up. That serves with a mad Prince Charlie himself. May he rest in peace.
An old campaigner, eh? Hey, where you from, soldier?
Fontainebleau, from a smarter outfit in bivouac than the likes of you in court.
A bit in the scuffs, sir, man. Seen anybody about, old-timer?
No, but shadows and tankards of ale. Fine French cavalier who departed hence without a bio leaf just now.
Where'd he go?
Oh, who knows? Perhaps he went one way, maybe the other. Though I think it was the other there.
All right, then. French cavalier, huh? We'll have him like a fowl in the spit. Spread out, cover the street. Keep an eye out, don't let him slip away between you. Forward now. Watch every corner. Oh, the fool. The drunken fool. I'm for it now, all right. This cross street. There's a bare chance they'll pass it by. If I can only get through here. No. Oh, no. It's a dead end, unless this leads... No, it's only the door to a house. Caught like a rat in a trap. All right. If it's written, then so be it. With a bit of luck, there'll be 2 or 3 go with me. Huh? The door. It's unlocked.
I can push it open. Black as the mouth of hell inside. Well, what have I got to lose?
Quiet now. You have to be here someplace. That's all, you fellows. Can't you see the press about it? He's not here. He's gone. There he has. He didn't come in here after all. All right, back to the corner. He's a sly one for sure.
That was close. Too close. Now to get out of here, and no one in the house will ever be the wiser. Huh? What's this? What? The door's locked. What's that? Trap? But why? Why would such a thing be done? I came in here by chance. One chance against a million. Wait. It's a light. Somewhere inside the house. Oh. By all rights, I should be dead at this moment. So...
Come in, young man. I've been expecting you all evening.
I fear you must be mistaken, sir. My visit is quite unexpected for both of us.
That's good. That's very good. For the both of us, you say. Well, no matter. You're here. That's the main point. Take a seat, my boy. Put yourself at ease. We'll arrange our little affairs presently.
There seems to be some misunderstanding. You see, your door was standing...
Oh, the door. That was a little piece of ingenuity. Don't you agree?
So you must know that I had no intention of intruding without an invitation.
Without an invitation, is it? Well, we old people are used to such reluctance. When it touches our honor, we cast about until we find some way of overcoming it. And so, my boy, invitation or not, you are, believe me, most welcome.
I hope you'll pardon my saying it, but I haven't the slightest idea what you're talking about.
Oh, so that's it, dead to rights, still pretending, eh? You're a clever rogue.
Sir, my name is Denis de Beaulieu. I am not a guest in your house by my own choice, and I am not accustomed to being...
Nor is the house of Maltois accustomed to certain things, of which you well know.
Maltois? I should have expected better treatment at the hands of one of the most honored families of France.
Honored indeed. Until you, Monsieur de Beaulieu, took it upon yourself to dishonor us.
Sire de Maltois, I have attempted to explain that I took a stand before your door to fight off a patrol which I'd encountered in the street. I assure you I had no slight intention of forcing myself Since it seems impossible for you to converse with any degree of reason, may I bid you good night? Sir, you have your right wits, and you're insulting me grossly. And if not, I have no desire to spend further time with a lunatic.
You young fool. Thinking to get away so easily.
No power on earth can make me stay here any longer, even if I'm forced to hack that door of yours to pieces.
Finally. And now, will you please sit down, my dear nephew? Nephew? You lie in your teeth. I said sit down. You think for a minute that I made a little contrivance for the door and stopped short with that? You want to be bound hand and foot until your bones crack inside of you, then get up. Try to get away. But if you'd rather stay a free young buck, agreeably conversing with an old gentleman, sit where you are in peace.
You mean, then, I'm a prisoner here?
I stated the facts. Draw your own conclusions. Ah, Pierre Francois, come in.
Thank you, Messiah.
Tell me, how is she? A little better frame of mind, I hope.
She is more resigned, at least, Messiah.
Well, now, isn't she hard to please? A likely stripling such as this, well-born, and her own choice. What more would the jade wart have,
If you'll pardon, the situation is not usual for a young damsel. It is somewhat trying to her blushes.
Trying, is it? Ha! She should have thought of that before the dance began. It's called the turn. Now she'll do the pay.
At the risk of being presumptuous, may I ask who she is?
Ha! You hear that, Père Francois? Monsieur de Beaulieu wishes to know who she is.
I heard, Messiah.
I am pleased that you find my most casual remarks amusing.
Oh, you'd like to know who she is. Very well. After all, you really should know, young fella. It's only fitting for you to be introduced properly. Come along. I'll take you in to see all right. Why, that's the reason I planned the whole thing. You stubborn young scoundrelly blackguard. Come along, my boy. Right through this door.
After you, sir, if you don't mind.
Oh, no. It's not that kind of a trap. Here we are. How are you, my dear?
Please, Uncle. Please have some pity on me.
Pity? But I do a great deal more than you've shown for the name of Malfoy. Come now. Up off your knees and look at the friend I brought you. It's good to be devout, but it is also necessary to be polite.
I have no understanding how you can be so vicious.
Oh, that's very unkind. And now, Monsieur de Beaulieu, since we've decided to keep up this farce, allow me to present my niece, Blanche de Malfoy.
For such an inhuman thing, surely heaven itself. He's not the man. My uncle, this is not the man.
Expected you to say as much, my dear. Is it so unfortunate you couldn't remember his name?
It's true. I swear by the Blessed Virgin, I do not know this man. Never laid eyes on him before. Please tell him. Tell him we've never seen each other before.
For myself, at any rate, I've never had that pleasure. Sire, I've not met your lovely niece before this moment.
Oh, now isn't that too bad? But it's never too late to begin. Quite often these impromptu marriages turn out very well in the end.
Marriage? Sire de Malfoy, will you please be kind enough to explain what you mean?
Aha, now, surely you've heard of the custom of marriage. It's quite widely practiced.
At least, sir, I've never heard before of such a maniac as I perceive you to be. And I've no intention of marrying anyone.
Then may I ask what were your intentions, my boy? Oh, well, no matter now. Sir Francois is looking forward to performing the nuptial rites. Oh, he's quite properly ordained, you know. So, shall we say, in 2 hours? Meanwhile, I suggest you become better acquainted.
Wait. Uncle, you can't be in earnest. I swear to you I'll kill myself before I'll be forced on this young man.
Forced? Oh, come now, my dear Blanche.
Is it possible that you think I'm lying? That you still believe this is the man?
Frankly, I do.
But then you're wrong.
I refuse utterly even to consider
it. You took it upon yourself to dishonor the name of our family. You forfeited all right whatsoever to question my design. I consider it a duty to see that you're married with as little delay as possible. Out of the goodness of my heart, I've attempted to find the man of your choice. And I believe I've done so. But if not, then I care not one jack's straw. Is that perfectly clear?
It's clear, sir, that you're a madman.
Perhaps, my dear nephew.
I'm not your nephew, nor will I be.
You'd sooner die 1,000 times.
Oh, such a fury against the inevitable. But at any rate, you'll have 2 hours to compose your differences. Père Francois, bring the clock.
Very well, Messiah.
Thank you. Place it there. This, Monsieur de Beaulieu, is another of my little contrivances, and one that is hardly less ingenious than my door.
Messiah, your accomplishments are of no interest to me whatsoever.
Oh, I think you'll find this one most interesting. You will notice that the upper container is filled with water. In exactly 2 hours, all of the water will have dripped into the lower vessel, and at that time, I shall return. Remove the plug, Père Francois. Clever, isn't it? Well, genius is so rarely appreciated. And now I'm quite sure you'd sooner carry on your interview without an audience.
You'd never met my uncle before? You didn't arrange this with you?
I've never laid eyes on him. And certainly nothing was arranged with me, else I wouldn't be here.
Oh, you're as much an unfortunate victim as myself.
But you at least must be more aware of the circumstances. I can understand none of this.
It's not an easy thing for a girl to tell. Whatever you may think of me now, I fear you shall think the worst when I've finished.
Words are but words. But your manner encourages respect.
Thank you, mister.
I've lived all my life with my uncle, and I've not been happy. 3 months ago, a young captain of the guard began to stand near me in the church. Oh, you must understand. I gave him no encouragement to do so.
Oh, quite so, I understand. He was handsome, of course.
As a matter of fact, very.
Mm.
After a while, he began to pass me notes. He found me pleasing, wanted to meet me, and seemed most interested in me for some reason.
I can believe that.
This morning, he passed me a note urging me to leave the outer door open tonight so that he could speak a few words with me on the stairs. Oh, this is most difficult for me to tell, monsieur. I'm sure he meant no harm. I've no idea how my uncle came to suspect. Sometimes his shrewdness becomes almost diabolical. After church, he took that note from my hand, read it, gave it back to me. I've been kept in my room all day, knowing nothing of what he might be planning.
So that's it. By pure accident, I've blundered into a trap set for someone else.
Had my uncle brought the captain himself, this thing still would have been confusing. How should I know that he may not have been trifling with me all along? But to be forced into a situation with you, a perfect stranger...
Your regard for me is quite clear, mademoiselle. I regret appearing as a disappointment to you. I believe you said he was very handsome.
If that were all.
There's more?
I mean, monsieur, that you yourself are quite handsome. But it's so... Oh, no, it's really no use.
Please understand me. I'm not urging you in any way.
Urging, monsieur?
I'm accustomed to meeting young ladies upon occasion who are quite ready to accept me as something besides a convenient substitute for some handsome captain of the guard.
I've no doubt of it, monsieur. And to correct the mistaken impression you seem to have, I'm well aware that you're doing no urging. And were you to do so, I should neither listen to nor give it any consideration whatsoever. Well, that we both understand one another.
Quite so. And that being the case, Mademoiselle de Maltroit, I wonder if you'll be good enough to conduct me to your uncle.
With the greatest of pleasure, monsieur.
I've no doubt but what this little matter can be settled very quickly, and with as much honor as possible to everybody concerned.
The full 2 hours weren't necessary. Already harmonious accord rises triumphant.
On the contrary side of the Maltroit, your assumption is entirely false.
Oh, what a pity. Well, Père François, there's nothing to it. You simply have to wait a while longer.
As you say, Messiah.
I fear it may be much longer than you think. In fact, forever.
That's a very long time indeed. And you, my dear niece, what are your sentiments in the matter?
I will not marry this man. Do what you may, uncle, I will not marry him.
Right back where we started. Can it be that our young friend is lacking in perception, Père François?
It is possible, Messiah.
I'm not at any rate lacking in a sense of honorable conduct. Dragged in here against my will, I've addressed your niece in the manner of a gentleman. I found her charming, lovely, delightful.
Monsieur.
But now I have the honor of declining your offer of her hand. Let that end the matter.
It's not as simple as that. Take a look from my window there, and tell me what you see on the wall beneath it.
What do you mean?
See for yourself.
Whatever it is can have no bearing on the matter. There's an iron ring set in the wall.
Quite so, and fastened to the ring?
A rope.
Right. So we have 2 elements. And to complete our little diagram, we need a third one. That element is, at the moment, firmly attached to your body. I'm referring, sir, to your neck.
Uncle, no.
And may I inquire the purpose of the dogs there in the courtyard below? Are they also a part of your devilish plans?
My dear young man, his body doesn't hang in ropes forever, you know.
You maniac. Even murder doesn't stop you.
Oh, that's such a nasty word. Let us confine ourselves to the bald facts. At the end of your 2 hours, you will prepare yourself either to marry my niece or to kick out your life while you swing at the end of that rope. There's no other alternative.
I think there's one. Between gentlemen, at any rate.
Arm yourself, sir.
You fool. You think for a moment that if I regarded your sword as a threat, you'd still be wearing it? Père Francois, will you open that door to the passage, please?
Of course, Messiah. I'll be most happy to.
Gentlemen, show this rash young buck the color of your steel. Whether he likes to admit it or not, Monsieur de Beaulieu, one day a man grows too old to fight his own battles, and he must hire others to do it for him. Close the door, Père Francois.
Then you'll not fight?
Do I seem a fool? There'll be no fighting and no haughty refusal to marry my niece. You found her charming. Well and good. But I'll tell you this. Were she as common as the Paris road, more hideous than the gargoyle over my door, you'd not spurn the hand of a Maltois and never live to tell of it. Alive and married you'll be, or dead and hanging from that window, and soon after, food for the dogs. It's one or the other. So, make up your mind.
Please, Monsieur de Beaulieu, why do you not sit down?
Your concern is most gratifying, mademoiselle. Since I have such a short time to live, I doubt that I'll grow very tired.
If the time be short, then why do we waste it in formal speech?
As you will. Listen to it. Drip, drip, drip. That devilish clock, like an artery opened and life's blood itself dripping away.
Well, I've sat here and thought until my whole mind's in a great whirl.
Please, you really shouldn't trouble yourself so much.
I can't bear to have you slain for my sake. Monsieur de Beaulieu, I will marry you gladly.
You must think, then, that I stand very much in fear of death.
Oh, no. I've had reason to see that you're no coward.
I've asked for no pity if the thing has to be. Then that's the end of it.
Oh, sir, you misunderstood me. Why, the great nobility with which you faced my uncle should have removed all question about your bravery had such doubts existed.
That is most kind of you to say so.
Not, of course, that anyone could raise such questions once they'd seen you.
Death's another incident. That's all.
Oh, but life's a better one. You'll agree, then?
I'm afraid you underrate the difficulty. What your generosity offers me, my pride prevents accepting. In this moment of noble feeling toward me, aren't you forgetting what you already owe to someone else?
Monsieur, he never really mattered.
Mademoiselle, my very life's the forfeit here. One I'll pay gladly if it be of service to a lady, but to tell me it's for something that never really mattered.
Please don't be so cruel.
Cruel, you forget. I'm the one who's going to die, not you.
I've not forgotten, monsieur.
Yes. You'll enjoy tomorrow's sun like any other days. And tomorrow night, perhaps you'll see him again. And of course, I'll be forgotten.
Oh, no, never.
But it's all a man can expect when he's born into the world, death at last. Some piece of ironic misfortune.
Oh, don't say this. I can't bear it.
Oh, if I've said anything to wound you, I'm sorry. It was for your own sake, not mine. Please. It's a bitter thing, my dear, to see you in such distress that giving my life itself for you, can't help it.
I'm sorry. I'll try to be braver. Is there no way at all in which I can serve you? Either now or afterwards?
Only by letting me think of you as a friend for the brief time that's left to us. By forgetting for the moment that I'm an awkward intruder thrown here by circumstance. That's all.
And afterwards?
What does it matter? The closer you come to it, the clearer you see that death's no more than a dark and dusty corner where a man climbs into his tomb and shuts the door after him.
Oh, monsieur.
I've only a few friends now. And once I'm dead, I've no doubt that I'll have none.
You forget Blanche de Montois.
You're very sweet. Any young man in France would be glad to trade places with me and die for you. You value the small service I do you far beyond its worth.
I'll not have you thinking so meanly of yourself. Look at me. Would you say that I am beautiful?
I think the most beautiful girl I've ever seen.
I'm glad of that. Tell me, is there a man in France who can say he's been asked in marriage by a beautiful maiden, asked from her own lips, and refused her to her face?
Oh, no.
I know you're a man, and I despise such a triumph. But any woman knows more of what's precious in love.
But remember, you asked me out of the pity of your heart, not for love.
Are you so sure of that? Must I bear my very soul like a merchant showcase?
You're very good. As good as you're beautiful. I'll not forget it for the time that's left me.
Very well. I, too, have a pride of my own. If you turn back now from your word, I'd no more marry you than I would any stranger off the street.
It's a small love that shies at a little pride. The dawn's starting to break.
Yes. My uncle and his men will come here any moment. What shall we say to him?
Anything you will.
Oh. All of my life I'll weep for you. And weep the more because it was you.
If I'm wrong, it's a great price I'm paying for it. One I'd not pay if I didn't care for you so dearly.
Careful. Oh, no, it's you who are being
It
kind.
was in the moment your uncle brought me into you and you raised your face to look at me. That's when I knew.
Oh, strange. For it was then I felt it too.
You've seen already that I'm not afraid to die.
Oh, you're not. I know it.
Gosh, is it really true, not something born of pity?
I swear by all that's holy. I love you, Denver.
Oh, my beloved. And I can tell you now that I love you, too.
Even after all you've
I
heard.
can remember none of it.
The captain's
No
name.
matter. I love you.
Oh, my darling.
I love you more than my life and my soul. Blush.
I love you.
I love you, Blush.
Well.
Uncle.
Well. It's most gratifying to see this little matter settle in such a congenial fashion. Good morning, my dear nephew.
I have nothing to say to you, sir. You're a vicious and unprincipled old man.
Oh, that's most ungracious of you. No. At the very worst, I'm no more than a very wise old man. One who's lived a long time and seen a great many remarkable things. An old man who's learned all about such mysteries as the love of life and love.
The Sire de Maltois Door by Robert Louis Stevenson was adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield and produced and directed by William N. Robeson with Elliot Lewis as Denis, Peggy Weber as Blanche, and Ramsey Hill as the Sire de Maltois. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Fewer.
Thanks for listening to HOJO Radio. We have more classic radio coming your way next.
Escape. Escape tonight to ancient Egypt.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations present Escape, a new series of programs of which this, the sixth, is The Ring of Thought by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, produced and directed by William N. Robeson. Wherever the English language is spoken, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle is known for two things: his immortal character Sherlock Holmes and his unshakable belief in life beyond the grave. So great is the stature of Sherlock Holmes that Conan Doyle's earlier stories are all but forgotten. Stories like The Ring of Thought, which so clearly anticipates the author's later fascination with spiritualism. We invite you now to escape to ancient Egypt and the Ring of Thoth, an adventure told in the words of John Vansittart Smith, British Egyptologist.
I arrived in Paris on the 3:14 express from Dieppe and went immediately to my hotel in the Rue de la Fitte. My actions so far had worked out according to my planned schedule. I slept for exactly 2 hours, got up and dressed, donned a greatcoat, walked down the Avenue de l'Opéra, and entered a side door of the Louvre. Once inside, and amid surroundings entirely familiar to me, I made my way immediately to the Chamber of Egyptian Relics, or more specifically, to the cabinet in that chamber which contained the El Kab collection of papyri. Drawing out the particular roll I wished, I placed it on a nearby table, sat down, began to study it, when I noticed one of the museum attendants who was polishing some brasswork across the room. His face struck me as being curiously Egyptian. On sudden impulse, I decided to cross the room and speak to him. Approaching closer, I was impressed at once by the appearance of his skin. Drawn tautly across temple and cheek, it seemed as glazed and as shiny as varnished parchment. And out of narrowed slits, there glowed 2 green and vitreous eyes, misty with a dry shininess, eyes of a kind never seen in a human head before. I beg your pardon. I need one of the papyri from the Memphis collection. Could you tell me where it is?
You'll find it in the last cabinet at the end of the room, monsieur.
Thank you. You're Egyptian, aren't you?
No, monsieur. I'm a Frenchman.
But, I thought perhaps...
If monsieur will excuse me now, I have other work to do.
I went back to the table and took up the papyrus I had been studying before. But my former calmness in translating the intricate hieroglyphics was gone, and out of the depths of my mind welled a feeling of terrible familiarity. I concentrated more deeply on my studies, pushing aside those thoughts conducive to mental turmoil, and at last, worn out by the inward struggle, I fell asleep. I awoke with a start, not remembering where I was. It was quite dark for a moment. Then gradually my eyes focused on the glints of moonlight reflected from the glass tops of specimen tables, from the shiny varnish of the mummy cases. And I realized with a feeling of sudden dread that I was alone in the Egyptian room of the Museum of the Louvre, locked in for the night. And I saw at that moment, approaching through the moonlit halls, a dim yellow flame. Nearer and nearer it came until I could perceive above it, as though floating in the air, the eerie, glistening face of the man I'd spoken to earlier. I shrank into the dark shadow of my corner, and he passed without seeing me, stopping before the mummy cases a few yards away. Scarcely daring to breathe, I watched him place the light on a table and begin feverishly to examine the tags on the specimens. In a moment, he gave a cry of delight, and, drawing one of the mummies from its resting place, laid it on the table in the full glow of the lantern and set to work. He was unwinding the wrappings from the head of the corpse. A few turns revealed a tumbled cascade of black curls. A few more, the snow-white brow, then the delicate nostril, and at last, the full, warm, passionate lips, the face of the most beautiful woman the world has ever seen.
Ma pauvre petite, so long it has been, so very long. You must forgive me, beloved.
I could hardly believe my eyes. The man was obviously in love with this mummy. After a while, he left the body, turning his attention to one of the glass cases filled with an assortment of rings. From a pocket of his garment, he'd taken a small glass bottle containing some kind of liquid, and he used this now to test the rings, rejecting them one after another. Then at last...
This is it. It's the one. At last I found it. The ring of Thoth.
In his excitement, he dropped the bottle, and I gasped in surprise at the sudden sound.
Who's there?
I beg your pardon.
So it is you. No, do not move.
I didn't mean to spy on you. I fell asleep.
Who are you, monsieur?
I am John Vansittart Smith, a student of Egyptology.
No matter. You will observe this knife
Yes?
Had I discovered you 5 minutes ago, monsieur, I should have slain you without a word.
What?
As it is now, I have found the ring. But I warn you not to interfere with me in any way.
I really haven't the slightest intention of it. After all, only here by accident.
Perhaps.
I say, you shouldn't have unwrapped that mummy, you know. It's starting to deteriorate already.
Oh, my beloved.
Yes, before our eyes, the lovely face was crumbling, the hair falling away, the skin shriveling and cracking, the lips fading. The man hovered over the decaying body a moment, murmuring sorrowfully. And then he turned again.
No matter. That will not make the least difference in a little while. Of what importance is the dead shell, so long as her spirit waits for me at the other side of the veil?
What are you talking about? What is it you're proposing to do?
Tonight, monsieur, I have ended a quest and broken at last the ancient curse. Nothing now can prevent my joining her.
Are you actually claiming that you knew her?
She was Atma, daughter of the governor of Abaris. And both she and I lived in the reign of Tutmosis 3,500 years ago.
You're obviously mad.
Perhaps, but not in the way you think. There may be design in this, your coming here. It may be decreed that I should leave some account behind as a warning to other mortals as rash as myself. Very well, then. So be it. I am, as you surmised, an Egyptian. My name was Sasra, and my father had been the chief priest of Osiris in the great temple of Abaris, which stood in those days upon the Bubastic branch of the Nile. I was brought up in the temple and was trained in all those mystic arts and sciences known to the priesthood. Of all the mysteries that I studied, none intrigued me more than the question of life and death. And even to this question, in time, I found an answer.
But for a man to live beyond his allotted span of years, Master Sastra, the gods have not so ordained it.
Then perhaps they will have to revise their ordinances, now that I've discovered their secret.
'Tis not well to jest. I tremble, for though I've labored in your service for a year, I knew not the goal of your endeavors. May Osiris forgive me.
Ah, what a pity you look upon it this way. For I'd thought that in return for your assistance, I should grant you, too, the gift of centuries of indestructible life.
I would not have it, Master Sastra, and I beg that you, too, forgo it.
Forgo it? I introduced fluid into my veins 1 month ago.
Oh, no. Then you are lost indeed.
Lost? Do you call this being lost? Let's see now. My heart should be about here.
Oh, that knife. No, don't. Master, you've killed yourself.
Not at all. See? It bleeds a little. But in a while, the wound will close up. And that's all.
It's immortality.
No. I shall not live forever. But for 5,000, perhaps 6,000 years, I shall be immune from all dangers of violence, poison, disease, starvation.
You can't die?
Now, with this fluid in my veins, nothing in this world can end my life.
Sastra, are you there?
Someone called.
It's Parmes, the priest of thought. In here, my friend. Enter.
Oh. Greetings, Sastra, master of sciences, and his worthy assistant.
If you will excuse me, masters, I go to make my peace with Osiris.
What's wrong with your helper, Sastra?
The thought of a well-nigh eternal life has frightened him into gibbering superstition.
Then you still believe in the discovery?
Believe in it? Parmes, my friend. Look.
By the heavens, what a scar.
It pierces the heart. It was done only a moment ago with this knife. See? I can put it back in the wound. So.
You suffered no ill effects?
None whatever.
And if I turn the knife in the wound, that would do you no harm?
You may try it. I feel nothing. I walked last week in the snake pits by the river, was struck innumerable times. It caused no harm.
By the great Anubis.
Will you have it then? Out of all Egypt, I have chosen only you, my friend, to share the gift. But the choice is yours.
I'd be a fool to refuse, Sastra. I'll have it. And now, what must I do?
First, we must open a vein in your wrist, like this. Then, we drip the elixir slowly into your bloodstream. Steady now.
I don't feel anything.
There is no sensation. It is done.
So simple? There is nothing more?
That's all. And now done, it can never be changed.
It seems incredible, supernatural.
It's no more than a chemical discovery, but with it, while all this about us passes away, you and I, Parmes, will live on for 50 centuries. Think of it, my friend. 5,000 years of life.
5,000 years. Only the two of us.
Listen, that noise. Some procession must be passing in the street.
I have an idea what it may be. Come on over to the window.
The beloved of heaven. Clear the road, stand back, and make way for the loveliest pearl of deep.
She's being carried on the shoulders of slaves, Parmes. She must be some woman of rank.
Her name is Atma. She's the daughter of the new governor.
The curtains are drawn back. Perhaps we'll have a look at her. Oh, Parmes.
Mm-hmm. Is she not beautiful?
She is the most desirable, the only utterly desirable woman I've ever seen in my life.
Yes. I saw her yesterday at the temple.
Then you're most fortunate, my friend. You've had 24 more hours to dream about it than I've had. I must know her, Parmes. I must make her love me. I'll send gifts. I'll call on her tomorrow. Oh, it has to be then. I couldn't wait any longer than tomorrow.
A visitor calls upon the beloved of the universe. He is Sastros, priest of the temple of Osiris.
Well, bid him approach.
Enter, Sastros.
Oh, most beautiful of all Egypt, I cast myself at your feet.
That's a noble ambition. But wouldn't it be much better to sit here beside me and watch the fish in the fountain?
Much better.
You will always fall. Except you, my girl. Play something for us. At a distance. Well, Sastra, for so I understand you're called, am I to deem this an official visit by a master of the temple?
Oh, Atma, my beloved. That is, no, it is not official.
Oh? Perhaps then you wish to see my father on personal business of your own.
Oh, no. No. I shall pay my respects to him at some other time.
Then could it be I you've come to see?
Yes.
And since you said the visit's not official, your reason must be a personal one.
Oh, it is.
Well, what is it?
Atma, I have known women who are famed for their beauty throughout the valley of the Nile. But not one, not all of them, so lovely as you.
How thoughtful of you to come here and tell me.
Atma, I've no wish to intrude my desires, my hopes, beyond such extent as you may wish to hear. But, I'm finding this very difficult.
Sasra, I've been told that you're a master of science, that you've unlocked the secrets of the universe, learned all the mysteries of nature itself.
Your informants have been most generous.
Yes, I'm inclined to think so.
What?
Because you've discovered nothing at all about such a simple thing as a woman's heart.
What do you mean?
I come from Thebes. And the women of Thebes are warm-blooded, passionate, and we know what we want.
Atma.
I saw you first 3 days ago. Why do you think I told my bearers to carry me down that street beneath your window?
And so, miracle of all miracles, Atma loved me. Worshipping the very ground her feet had trod upon, I lived through those glorious weeks, and with it all, our love grew apace. But one thing bore heavily upon my mind, and I came to speak of it more often to my beloved as we sat and talked by the fountain in her garden.
Look, Sasra. See how the stars shine from the water?
Yes, Atma. more lovely even than their glow in the heavens.
Are they very old, the stars?
Very old, beloved. As old as time.
And they'll go on gleaming there, long years after you and I are gone and forgotten.
Fatma, my dearest, we've talked of this before, and I know it distresses you to think of it.
No, Sastra. Tonight everything is beautiful. We shall not talk of death.
Not of death, but of life. They're only counterparts of one another.
Oh, if we could only live together. Grow old together and die in the same instant.
But how much better to live and love 5,000 years? Will you not do it? Does so long a time seem too great for the love you feel for me?
Beloved, no. The time pass in an instant. And the loss then be no easier born than now.
Then why draw back? Will you not take the elixir now, tonight?
I'm afraid, Sastra. We'll anger the gods.
We will outlive the gods.
They will have their revenge.
Whatever occurred, we'd be together.
Yes, I've thought of that. Were it not so, I'd not even consider doing it.
Then you'll do it. Atma, you'll do it.
I need more time, only a little more to assure myself.
How much?
Tonight, Sasra. Give me tonight.
Every hour you live without the elixir is another hazard. All right, then. Tonight. And may Isis herself guard over you until the fluid courses in your veins. And so, on that accursed night, I went to my chambers and slept. And while I slept, the moon of Isis shone over the delta of the Nile. Shone but to light as foul a scene as was ever done on earth. Some hours had passed away.
Master Sasha, awaken! Master, awaken at once.
You know, who is it?
Oh, what a terrible thing has transpired this night.
You're one of the slaves. Why do you come here?
Oh, Master, Master.
What has happened? What's the matter? Speak.
It is she, the light of the world.
Tell me what has happened to her.
Master. Brigands came in the night. She is dead.
You lie. You lie.
Sasra, the slave speaks the truth.
Parmes, my friend. What foul joke's behind these words of his?
It's not a joke. Atma is dead. You, slave, depart from us.
Yes, Master. By your gracious leave, I depart.
Such a thing cannot be. Oh, of course. The two of you planned it together, sought to frighten me out of my wits. It's very amusing, really. But I was terrified for a moment.
Atma no longer lives. She was stabbed to death only a short while ago.
No. Oh, no. She can't be dead.
She is dead, Sosra, and for all eternity.
I must go to her. Surely something can be done.
I killed her.
What is it? What has happened?
I killed her. Oh. I struck her through the heart with this very knife.
You, Parmes. Why?
Because she loved you.
Why?
And because I loved her.
You, my friend.
She would not look at me.
And for that you would lose us, both of us, forever?
Both of us, Sosra? I think not.
By the living Osiris, give me that knife.
That's it. Strike. Again. Here's the heart. Here, strike. Again and again, Sosra.
Wait. What foolishness. I cannot kill you.
You're wrong, Sosra. You have killed me. Those were grievous blows.
But the fluid, that cursed elixir of life, it runs in your veins as well as mine.
True. But in mine is also the antidote.
You lie. There is no antidote.
As day and night, these many weeks I've worked, and I found it.
You couldn't have. Is there more of it?
Yes, a very little. But you'll never find it.
Where is it? Tell me where it is.
In the ring, Sasha. In the ring of thought. And you'll never find it.
I will. I must.
Go on. Live your 50 centuries. And every hour of them, think. It was your hand that struck me down. With the same knife that took her from you. Think. I go to join her.
Oh, no. You're not dead. You're not! No! For months, I searched the papers, test tubes, and chemical flasks in the chambers of the dead priest of Thoth. Searched and found nothing. I sifted the sands where he'd walked, questioned his slaves and servants, and learned nothing. Every moment of my life, my terrible and unwanted life, was devoted to an unceasing hunt for the ring of thought, and all to no avail. And in time, a horde of barbarians overran the city of Abaris, and the sands of the desert buried forever the last of my hopes. And so began the deadly march of the centuries. How can you know how terrible a thing time is? You, who've experienced only the narrow course between the cradle and the grave. I've floated down the whole stream of history. I have traveled in all lands, and I have dwelt with all nations. Every tongue is the same to me. I need not tell you how slowly the centuries drifted by. Centuries without end. Years without number. And so, I came to be one day, a few weeks past, in San Francisco, where I came across a certain item in a newspaper.
Among recent discoveries in Lower Egypt is an unopened mummy case containing, according to the inscription on the outside, the body of the daughter of the governor of Abaris in the days of Tutmosis. In the same burial crypt, up into a crevice between the stones, was found a large platinum ring of singular design. Both specimens have been sent for examination to the Louvre in Paris.
So, I presume you came here to Paris, obtained this position of attendant in the Louvre with the idea of...
Only yesterday, Monsieur Smith. As you may imagine, I had little difficulty in convincing the director of my knowledge of Egyptian relics.
The ring, then. The one I saw you remove from the case is the Ring of Thoth?
Without question.
You've discovered how the ring must be used?
The secret is obvious. See, the stone is hollow, and drops of liquid move within it.
Have you considered the possibility that this antidote may not perform the function which has been claimed for it?
It will, monsieur. And there'll be no need of a knife to strike me down. My death was due in a time long past, and only this damnable fluid that runs through my veins supports the weight of my years. I delay no longer. I go to join her where she waits for me in death.
No, don't.
Oh. Too late. I've broken the gem. I've taken the antidote.
I stood and watched him with a terrible fascination, but without pity and without compassion. He turned away from me and reeled toward the mummy he'd left on the table across the room. But even as he turned, the parchment skin of his face cracked and shredded. Discolored lips shriveled away from the yellow teeth. The vitreous eyes withered into nubs of formless plasm, and the full weight of his 3,500 years descended on him in an instant. I left that room of death and walked over the marble floors toward the exit, my footsteps echoing through the empty halls, even as they had echoed for so long in the corridors of time. And I wondered as I walked if Sasra knew now what I knew, that the antidote in the Ring of Thoth can bring death to the body, but not to the soul. And I wondered in what cloak of flesh his spirit now dwelt, just as I, Parmes, priest of Thoth, had for the last 40 years of my 3,500 dwelt in the body of John Vansittart Smith.
Well, now, he's only 2 days old.
But he doesn't look a bit like either his father or me.
Give him time, my dear. All babies look pretty much alike when they're first born.
I don't know. His eyes, it's silly, of course, but
He looks like an Egyptian.
Produced and directed by William N. Ralston, The Ring of Thoth by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, with Jack Webb as Sosra, Thomas Freeland Smith as Van Sittart Smith, and Joan Banks as Atma. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Feuer. Escape is presented by the Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations each week at this time. Next week, we invite you to escape to a raft in the South Pacific with John Russell in his unforgettable story of human bravery, The Fourth Man. And so good night until next week at this time, when again it will be time to escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Thank you for listening to HOJO Radio. We'll be back again very soon.